Hello, 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 people. So we're here for the deadline day, the last couple of hours. Yeah, that window is going to slam shut on us, isn't it? Hello, everyone. If you're on Facebook, YouTube, X, let us know. Get your comments in. Let me know if you're happy, sad, angry. Let me know if you think any deals are still going to be done. Ask me some questions, give us a like, let me know what you think is happening. So it seems like the only deal we are possibly going to do is 𝙏𝙍𝘼𝘉𝙍, based on what I'm seeing at the moment. Getting some feedback there, sorry about that. Yeah, so I mean, it's, again, evening, happy Hammerette. Yep, you're right. It's the same old routine, and that we tried. Of course they did. Yep. I always think that I see an interview with David Sullivan the other day where he was like, "Oh, well, you've got your valuation of a player, and you don't really want to pay much more than your valuation of the player." And I was thinking, fuck me. Imagine if he did honest interviews. Imagine if he did an honest interview where he'd be like, well, you see, there was a deal to be done. We wanted the player. The problem was they wanted money, and I didn't really want to spend it. So there we go. Have we got enough depth in our squad? No. Have we let go more than we've replaced? Yes. I think we're actually in profit at the moment, which is absolutely ridiculous considering, we look certain to go down. I'm pretty sure we had an option to buy Creswell a lot cheaper in the summer, and Sullivan fucked that one. So now we're obviously here in this situation now. And do you know what? It's even worse. I was very optimistic about our chances of staying up. After the Sunderland game and the Tottenham game, I was really confident. But then, even after the Chelsea game, I felt like we see enough from the team in the Chelsea game to suggest, against lesser opponents, we can pick up those points, and that's where we were going to win. We needed to win those 6 pointers. My biggest fear now is that Todibo's out for 3 games, and it just scares the shit out of me. West Ham board are trying, very, very trying, 100%. I wish they would just sell up and fuck off, honestly. It gets on my nerves. Looks like we'll be sticking with Kilman and we'll be relegated. Our best players will leave. And this is exactly it as well, West Ham. Thanks for your comment, mate. This is exactly the problem, is that what good players we have in our squad will not want to stay next season. We're going to have to complete real rebuild. It's going to be, we're going to get some of them under 21 players. We're finally going to get to see them playing, because I mean, our senior squad are going to leave, and I just don't see. For me, I don't see the board investing next season. I just don't see it. If we go down, I think it almost looks like the fact that I've said, I think we're in profit this transfer window. It feels to me like they're trying to get as much money as possible. And I see a rumor earlier about Magassa. If we were to let Magassa go, then I would almost be certain that they are trying to line their pockets before we go down. It seems ridiculous. Happy Hammerette, Groundhog Day. It is indeed. Every time you think the club could do something, every time you think we could kick on, or you think we're going to move on, or you think we're going to build on some momentum on the pitch, off the pitch, it's just it just doesn't. It just never happens, does it? And exactly this is Groundhog Day. I expected us to be a lot busier than we were in the window. I know that everyone used to call David Moyes Dithering Dave, but I think we really do know who the Dithering Dave is. It's a disgrace considering the position we're in. The board should be ashamed. They should be ashamed, but are they? I doubt it. You know, he's still going to sleep nicely tonight. He's still going to be comfortable knowing that he's got our money. It is ridiculous. Okay, so apparently 𝙏𝙍𝘼𝘉𝙍𝘼𝑉𝑚medical medical is happening right now. I don't know. What do you make of that? Because if what we've heard today is to be believed, he doesn't actually want to come. Brian, we start the latest rebuild on the Nuno, get relegated and start another rebuild. You're 100% right. And a lot of people are polarized on Nuno. But I think if we do go down, the best thing to do is to keep him, because he's starting to build his squad. And if we just get another manager, it's just going to be another manager trying to manage this manager's players, and it's just not good enough. We've already got a fucking Frankenstein's monster of a squad here because we have a lack of a director of football. You know, there's no clear direction. There is no clear direction that this club is going in. You can see the trajectory, but there is no actual direction for this club. He's owner a total disgrace. They deserve to be relegated. It's just a shame we have to suffer because of them. Exactly that. The only thing is, I hope that if we go down, he'll sell up. If there's a positive to come from it, I just hope he'll sell up. We can only hope. Cheers for getting involved, George. Thanks, mate. And thanks, Brian. Thanks, Rob. Hello, everyone. Thanks a lot. Those of you who don't know, I'm Ben. I'm probably one of the moaniest ones on the channel, and I'm really fucked off with the state of the club at the moment, so I'm sorry. If you don't want negativity, Russ will be along soon and he'll cheer you up, I guess. But Tommy Skinner, thanks for getting involved, buddy. We know we've been crying out for a centre-half pretty much September. Why is it 2 hours before the winter? Exactly this as well. We did know. Everybody could see exactly what we needed. It's just beggars belief, because when we had like Moyes, we were crying out for a striker, and all we do is sign defenders and defensive players. And now we're kind of saying, look, we need a striker, but more importantly, we need a defender. We need a centre back, and we've got two strikers, which, you know, fantastic if we're going to try and use them. But from what I've seen from Nuno so far, we're not. You know, we attack, we get ourselves into a good position, and then we just take our foot off the throttle, and we try and sit back and peg ourselves in our own half and let the other team have possession. And to be honest with you, when we're in that situation, it just doesn't work. We just can't play well under pressure. We can't. So I don't know why it's taken, why they've let it go this far. Money 𝙏𝙍𝘼𝘉𝘍 on at Chelsea. He could be one of our biggest wage earners, even if we pay 75% of the wages for a player. Yeah, exactly that as well. And, you know, I want anyone who comes in, I want him to. He wouldn't be my first choice, no. But anyone who comes in and pulls on the shirt, I'll cheer for him, and I'll back him. And, you know, I don't want to see anyone fail. I want what's best for the club. But good God, they call him disaster. Do you know what I mean? And that is fucking transfer window's a disaster. Clown Cockney, 𝙏𝙍𝘼𝘉𝘍 is an 80k a week. Chelsea want a loan fee. Exactly. It's a fucking joke. Absolute joke. And the whole of January to get centre back even too. Wait until deadline day to get a loan deal. Apparently a loan deal with the player. Exactly. And he's not even, I mean, if what we're reading is to be believed, he doesn't want to come. He really doesn't want to be here. He waited and waited and waited for the moment to see if he could get see if the AC Milan deal would go through. And it's yeah, I mean, has he got the chops for a relegation scrap? And the question I want to ask you guys is it looks like 𝙏𝙍𝘼𝘉𝘍 is going to be the only bit of business we do today, unless the board are absolutely pulling off a masterclass behind the scenes, which I highly doubt. I think there's only one thing getting pulled off behind the scenes, and that will be one of the board members. Do you think 𝙏𝙍𝘼𝘉, in your opinion, do you think 𝙏𝙍𝘼𝘉 is better than Kilman? Let me know in the comments. When we go down, Nuno will go, and we can go in for Michael Carrick, who knows the championship. I'm not altogether sure, Ken, thanks for getting involved, mate, but I'm not altogether sure that Michael Carrick will not be the Man United manager next season. I think he's really setting himself up there at United. He's definitely seems to have turned a corner. So I don't think Carrick would come to West Ham. And again, I think that if we're letting Nuno build a squad, then we should give him another season with it, in my opinion, because it will just be even worse if we get another manager in and he's got 4 managers, different players in front of him. It's just going to be a nightmare. Ben, the problem with our defence should have been dealt with at the beginning of the window. Now, yeah, exactly that. We knew what was coming. But then this is the whole club. It's just proactive. It's just reactive. We knew the AFCON was coming, but we let Graham Potter sell our cover at fullback. You know, he sold Emerson and Sufal. Well, he let Sufal go. But the thing is even if Emerson wanted to go, we could have given Sufal another contract, and even if we had bumped his wages up, it still wouldn't have been nowhere near what we're going to lose in relegation. We could have signed more cover at left back, but again, he didn't. It's like the AFCON just all of a sudden popped out of nowhere, and no one knew it was coming in the club. So it's just ridiculous. These problems with transfers, they just pile up and pile up and pile up. It's absolutely ridiculous. Don't understand. The most needed at centre back, 2 centre backs, even more. Todibo's out. How many games? Exactly that as well. Todibo is out, and that's what worries me, is that we're going to have to see Kilman at centre back. It's going to be absolutely ridiculous. It's going to be horrific, and he's going to lose more value. Just winds me up how it'll be the same stuff said once it's shut. Manager didn't want this, manager didn't want that. Multiple managers, yeah, and this is the thing: is that ask the manager what he wants. Sorry about that, guys. Ask the manager what he wants and get it for him, or the manager will bring a shortlist to you and say, these are the players I want to survive. And then you look at it and you go, look, this is reasonable, this isn't reasonable, because of course the manager's going to have some unreasonable names on there, like some expensive players. But you don't just turn around and go, well, look, I'll tell you what, I understand that you want a world-class centre-back, but what about this John Egan over here? He's only 33 years old. He's only had like 6 or 7 major injuries and missed a couple of years of football. So then when the manager says, no, I don't want John Egan, he's fucked, then the chairman goes, well, we tried. We offered it to him, but he didn't want it. He didn't want it. You know, he asked for Cristiano Ronaldo. We gave him Adama Traore. What more does he want? Yes, Kilman is terrible. Kilman is fucking awful. Scares the daylights out of me when I see him on the pitch. Scares the daylights out of me. And the thing is, I don't think he's necessarily awful. I think there's a place for him in a team, but it's not at our team. He's not weak. Every week, we completely surrender the midfield battle. He can't push up. He has no one behind him. He panics. He loses concentration. He's always caught flat-footed. It's worrying. It's worrying. I cannot. I can't. Disaster cost Chelsea 37 million. So that makes him 3 million more shit than Kilman. Yeah, you're not wrong there. The only thing is, Ricky, cheers for getting involved, mate, is if we can get the Disassi that Chelsea brought, we might actually get a decent player out the deal. But there's no evidence to suggest we are even going to get close to the player that they brought. It's ridiculous. My granny is better than Kilman. Sign her up. Can she play on she play centre back, mate? Common denominator will always be Sullivan, and this is why everyone is done with these owners. Exactly. Sell up and fuck off. Name your price. Stop banning people for fucking having their own opinions. Stop fobbing us off every transfer window. Stop trying to pull quick little moves like charging disabled people, elderly people, children extra money for their tickets. Just fuck off, mate. He's a toxic little toad. Don't understand. We've already been there. Disassi won't be ready for Burnley. Well, that's going to be fun, isn't it? Kilman at centre back. Surely Disassi can't be worse than Kilman. I think it's marginal, to be fair. As I say, it depends if we can get the Disassi that Chelsea signed. He was all right before Chelsea signed him, and he just hasn't settled in England. So what's the chances he's going to do it for West Ham all of a sudden? Dsassi is a pathetic signing. Hasn't played in almost a whole year. It's just as poor as what we already have. Might as well just kept Igor. I agree with that. I do agree with that. Nuno must really hate him for him to have not even got a sniff. Like, he must have either Nuno had a problem with him or he was shit. You know, it's weird. It's weird. At least Tim got people in. Sullivan is clueless. 100%. I much prefer the fact that we got someone in. Here we go. We got a more cheerful face in the chat now. Mate, I've just spent the last 20 minutes moaning about the bald.
Yeah, I know. It's a weird one, isn't it? I mean, I think in some areas, I think we've done better than I thought we were going to do, in all honesty. But it's just this defender, and it's just, you know, we're getting closer and closer, and we're not going to end up having one, are we?
But we knew this. Like, it's exactly what I was saying about the AFCON. We knew AFCON was coming, and I understand if Emerson wanted to go. I understand that. I get it if he didn't want to play second fiddle to Diouf or whatever. Yeah. But Safal, like, why? Like, the wages we could have paid him, the wages we would have paid Safal are nothing compared to what we're going to lose if we go down.
True. Yeah, true. I mean, we're going to get Vlad on the channel soon, and I think we'll find out a little bit more. I think I want to delve into a little bit deeper into that because, you know, because I think there's definitely something there. But it's not really. But even with Sufal, for example, you know, he's not going to. He don't play centre half. You know, we've been wanting a centre half since the beginning of the window, and even before then, really, we knew we were short, and yet we still haven't got one.
No, but that's what I mean. Like, it's not just this centre back issue. It's the fact that we let players go knowing the AFCON was coming, and we did nothing to replace them. So then when I see,
I mean, from an AFCON perspective, you know, I think we had cut. I mean, we didn't have, like, you know, I thought Ollie did well over the period. He had a bit of a dodgy game, but the rest was all right. And Kyle Walker-Peters is a model professional. I don't really, you know, but I agree. We left ourselves very risky and short, didn't we? Ezra Mayers had to play out of position as well.
Yeah, and he did well. He did really well.
He did really well.
But it's more the risk that we were running. We got very lucky over that period, but we've known from the beginning that we needed another centre back. And I was just literally saying before you come on that either Igor is knocking Nuno's wife or he's a really, really shit defender. Like, what?
Well,
I don't understand.
I mean, JWP called him baldy, didn't he? He never got into the side, so wouldn't put it past him. But I agree, you know, and even letting him go back as you know, now in hindsight, we could actually use him now, and that's the issue. Hindsight is a great thing. We thought we'd send him back, no probs. You know, Dsassi and Kinski in, they're out, but Kinski ain't happening. So it's like, well, if that's the case, why did we send Igor back? And just even, you know, it's football is all about hindsight and decisions made, and we've made a couple of really poor decisions in terms of the defence, and I just, I just don't get it. I just don't understand when it's so blatantly obvious that we needed a centre half, why we haven't got one.
It just astonishes me. It just absolutely astonishes me because I remember a couple of years ago when we were screaming out for a striker and we were just buying defensive players, and now it's like buses, you know, two arrive at once. And you know, it's a bit crazy. It's just a bit crazy. Paul, I know I'm not saying that Safal should be starting for us, but I'm just saying he would have been good cover over that period of the AFCON. I mean, even KWP can play both wings, so it would have given us a bit more kind of flexibility. My biggest problem is with the team is that when I look at the bench, I think, what do you do? What can we do?
Yeah.
And that was my biggest concern during. Mind you, Nuno doesn't seem to change things much. He seems to win a game and then lose it in the second half. He seems it's.
I think you know that Chelsea game showed what spending £2 billion on a squad can do. When you can bring on the best part of £500 million to win a game, you know, and he still had Caicedo on the side on the pitch, who's 100 million. He's got Enzo Fernandez, who's £100 million player as well. And you know, when we look at our bench, and you know, and no disrespects, you know, obviously we got rid of Guedo and stuff, but you know, when you have the likes of Guedo and Andy O, it's just we're light years behind some of those sides in terms of squad depth, and having the ability to manage those squads as well. It put it into perspective, really, that you know they literally could bring on their own bomb squad and win the game.
Yeah, and that was kind of, and I thought that was so poetic of the game, is that you had this young progressive manager, which we were screaming out for when we got given Lopetegui and Potter and now Nuno, but we got this young progressive manager making extremely good tactical substitutions, and you could tell because two of them scored, and then our manager was like, let's whack another defender on there and take one of our only attacking threats off, and it just kind of, I don't know if he bottles it or what, I don't know what it is, but he seems to get to a stage in the game and he panics. I don't know.
Yeah,
he just panics.
I think he does just panic, and I think the issue is, I don't know if it's panic, but I just think it's the way his mind works that he wants to see out a game, and you know, when they're in front, literally 60, 65 minutes, it's similar to Moyes would do the same thing. He would do exactly the same thing. You know, it's that ilk of manager which gets you to a certain spot, and then you want another manager to take you to that next level. But I think since again, I know we always talk about Moyes, but since Moyes left, we've gone backwards. So we need to get back up to that level before then we can potentially look to move on, I think, and bring in someone who's going to give us that little bit difference. There was a point I wanted to make. Someone's put, so I've got my thing on as well, so I can see. Frog, this is it. I want to put this point up. Where is it? ADA now. Amike might not be here next by the time the season kicks up. Now he is looking at potentially leaving because he's not getting first team football, which I would be absolutely gutted. Apparently at the moment he's been pimped around Germany at the moment, which is really bad. And then again, you know, it's when you promote the wrong people. You know, when Ezra Mayers was being put into playing a position he couldn't play. It's not his position. Not couldn't play, but not his natural position. Amike Adiele is ready to roll, to be that Ollie Scar's understudy, and because of that we might lose him, because clearly he doesn't think he's going to get much of a pathway when, you know, the guy in front of him is actually someone who plays a different position. So sorry, Frog, I'm as gutted as you, but that could happen. Just to let you know, it won't happen today, but I wouldn't be surprised if that happens at the end of the season. His contract runs out in the summer, same as Elijah Schwamley did with Spurs earlier this week, which I'd be gutted about if that happens, because I really rate the lad. He's the quickest player in our squad. Have we signed Dawson or Zuma yet? I think more likely to sign Igor again, to be perfectly honest. Could you imagine?
Master of the cutback.
Honestly, the man's quality.
He's unreal. And it really upsets me as well, because it's just another instance of the club doing the wrong thing. Like
I think it is and it isn't. You know, it's one of those things where I was looking back at some of the players we've let go of, and actually, we usually, you know, there's not one that's gone shit, you know, and there might be one maybe eventually. I mean, what's his fate? Divine Museka for Man City, although he's going to go on loan, I think. But he's highly regarded at Man City. He was one, but he didn't really sort of break into the under-21s. He was very, very, very young when Man City took him. Someone like Amique, I just think he's when we got a side crying out for pace, he was there with abundance and we never used him. But in the same way that we never really used Louis Guilherme as well. And, arguably he came in a few more tiers higher than Amique. I think, as I said, for me, the club have a clear strategy of the players they want to keep and they want to bring through the pathway. There's no surprise in the likes of Finn Herrick, Orford, Erdris, Kante, Mayers. These are the guys they rest their sort of next crop plans with, because they've all signed multi-year deals, like 5+1 deal. And Josh Landers as well. So these are the guys clearly they've got in mind. But it's like the Amique of the 80s. There's another lad called Jeffro Medine, who's a right back, who's definitely he's grown into that position this season. But it's a shame. It's a shame. But I wish them all well wherever they go. Do you know what I mean? Not everyone we're going to get. Not every kid's going to make it at West Ham. And you keep an eye on them and look at Sonny Perkins, look at Harrison Ashby, look at 𝙏𝙍𝘼𝙉𝙍. These guys, we were like, shit. We thought the world was going to crash in when they didn't play for us anymore. But they've hardly made a dent anywhere else, to be fair.
I do feel like in our current situation, though, given the weakness in that position, I did think that we'd see a bit more of him.
I thought we would have seen. I thought the AFCONs would have been a fantastic position to bring him in a similar way that they did with Ezra. But actually, he's like, if you're looking for someone who is a Diouf Mark II, he is a Diouf Mark II. Attacking wise, he's phenomenal. I think he's better defensively than Diouf. But but obviously I only watch him from a 21 perspective. But when he plays in the National Cup and he does play really well when he plays against adults, big boys. And it's a shame because he's one of the ones who've come from the age of 9 and come into the squad just like Ezra did, just like Erdris did. Some will fall by the wayside. It's like Callum Marshall. I don't think Callum Marshall's got a career at West Ham. Just don't think he has.
It's very difficult to see. I mean, I don't think we even play the correct way to fit Marshall in. I don't even think that he fits our tactics at all. Unfortunately, because I do think there's a player there, but he just wouldn't really work for us. I mean, I would have been interested if we go down. I'd be interested to see him in the Championship, but I don't think he'd even get that.
I think he probably will. I think he might do. But sacrificing our Premier League squad, I think he's a good League One, good Championship player. He's one of those players who'll score wherever he goes. There's no doubt about that. But I just don't think he's Premier League ready.
No, he looks a bit too passive for the Premier League.
Yeah, he's got the doggedness, a bit like Tati, like runs about like a headless chicken. He does that, but it's just that he's clinical, but I just think, and I think it's the same with George as well, George Earthy. I mean, he didn't play this weekend for Bristol City. He's on the bench.
Yeah.
And if we're seen as the big great hope at West Ham, he should be knocking out the 90 minutes each game against for Bristol City.
They got absolutely walloped as well.
They got spanked 5-0 away at home to Derby. Yeah. But I think there's, and again, George hasn't been given a long-term deal. He had 6 months left in his deal for a 1-year option, and we exercised the 1-year option, and so we haven't offered him an improved. I mean, Josh Landers has only been here 6 months, but we've given him another 3-year deal on top. So,
I mean, this is what Frog said here. We can't steer academy players towards our tactics. But the thing is when you look at a club that's well set up, that the youth system, the whole club mirrors. So their players are playing in the system. Yeah. And when you look for loans, you look for teams who play a similar type of football to you, so that players are getting that tactical familiarity. And I just look at, I actually felt bad because Caelan Casey absolutely world-class game against Man City, and he really kind of showed what he was capable of. And I mean, since joining Leighton Orient, I mean, Leighton Orient seems to be a bit of a sinking ship at the moment anyway.
Yeah.
It's not going well across East London, but I just kind of feel he's gone from playing really well against Manchester City, one of the top teams in the country, to turning out for Leighton Orient, 1-0 losses against Port Vale.
Yeah, I mean, he's had back-to-back starts for Orient, and I think sometimes it's not necessarily. I just think it's the reps. It is playing that sort of. I mean, he wasn't get. I mean, maybe the Championship Swansea was a step too far for him, in terms of his development. So maybe an Orient at League One made sense. I look back and the blueprint of Freddie Potts and how that's all worked. 1 year in League One, 1 year in the Championship, and then going into the squad. And I think that's a way we should be looking. I don't. For me, it was easy for George to go back to Bristol City, but I don't think it's the right move for him. I think he should have gone to an Orient or somewhere like that, where he could, if you're moving in January, you want to look for sides that are basically playing for nothing, because you're going to get game time. If they're playing for relegation, if they're trying to save relegation, or they're trying to get in the playoffs, they're not going to risk it all on a youngster.
No.
And that's the issue. So, I mean, you look at, and again, like Callum's one was a weird one, going to Bundesliga 2.
Yeah.
Very, very strange.
It is strange, but I mean, it's a strange game anyway. I mean, it's funny how things, I mean, when I talk about Caelan Casey there having a good game against City and then end up at Leighton Orient, we've got to look at a few years ago when City brought Calvin Phillips, and now he's on loan at Sheffield United.
Well, I mean, it is. It's 2, 3 years, 4 years down the line. I mean, again, look at Sonny Perkins. Sonny Perkins left to go to Leeds because they were going to offer him first team football. I think he played like twice for them, and now I think he's at Orient now. Well, he was at Orient. Same for Harrison Ashby. He's on loan at something like Bradford City at the moment, and it's how players develop and develop. I mean, in the day, as I said, I saw Declan Rice play at under 18 level, and he wasn't the best player at all, far from it. But he just had something, which, I mean, even then, I didn't think he'd be the player that he is now. But you could see him being a professional footballer, and it's quite funny when you see these kids at 18 and the 21s. There's guys that stand out, and you go like, "Fuck!" If we can nurture that, there's a hell of a player. So as I said, my boy Erdris, he's one.
Massive.
He's the boy. He came into our TikTok the other day. He was on the TikTok. Yeah, him and Riley, Riley Hagen. They were on the chat. It was quite funny. Because I was like, why the fuck aren't you playing? And he went, I got a back injury, out for 2 weeks. All right, fair enough. Right. But yeah, no, there's some great comments here about that. Paul just said, I used to play with Bertie Brayley. Yeah, big fan of Bertie, friend of the channel. That was part of the night. The side that won the FA Youth Cup. Beat Coventry 8-1, 9-1 in aggregate. Yeah, good player Bertie was. And Izzy and Adam Newton and the guys like that, and Carrick and Joe Cole. They made something of their lives. Harry Kane had 3 unsuccessful loan deals yet.
One
and Millwall, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, he got himself around London.
And Norwich.
Yeah, he was at Norwich. He was very bad at Norwich. It's one of them things, like you see, like you do see something special in players every now and then, and I just kind of. And I do agree, not everyone's going to make it through, and for all the goodwill in the world, Marshall, he may be a great striker one day, but as I say, he's not going to play in our system, is he? No. My concern is that we keep losing talent for nothing. Where that's clear profit on the books. If you've got a decent player, give them cup games or something, put them on the bench every now and then. Do you know what I mean? And kind of build that value a bit. Get them a good loan deal, not sending them off to the Bundesliga 2 or whatever. Get them a good loan deal, build their value, and then whatever you sell them for is a clear profit.
Yeah, I mean, we've done something a little bit a little bit like that, not to the extent of like a Declan Rice, but with Elijah Swomley. So obviously he's gone to Spurs now. He's out of contract in the summer, but West Ham letting him have him early means that we can put a sell-on clause on his deal. So if anything happens to him, we get a sell-on clause. I think the same with Bama as well. If he goes anywhere, then we get a percentage on him. But I agree. There's some of them I think that, I mean, you've got, as I said, I think the issue now is, and we've had like people like Tim Breaker on, Pat Holland, you know, guys who are still scouting for Premier League and Championship clubs, and they're saying, look, the trouble is you build a kid up from the age of 9, and when they get into a place where they can then break into the first team, you could go to Liga, Bundesliga, and get someone with the same age with 60, 80, 90 appearances under their belt. Who have already made it. Case in point, look at Pablo. Pablo's 21.
Yeah.
And Callum Marshall's the same age. And because he's come from Liga NOS, you know, it's, you know, he's been playing first division football, you know, for 2-3 years. So it's but you pay for that. That's the trouble. You pay for that. And that's always been the issue. You know, look, Mahamadou Kante, you know, although he's only played a couple of games in Liga, he's physically head and shoulders above someone like I don't know, Preston Theron, someone like that at the moment. So,
I mean, it's all about complementing your current youth system with talent. Like, it's all about that. Like, I like it when I see us signing players like Josh Landers and stuff like that. When I see us putting in, what's his name from Celtic? Dan
Cummins.
Dan Cummins, that's it. Yeah. It's all about complementing your existing structure with players like that, and that's why I like the La Madrid deal. I don't like. I could be completely wrong about him. I honestly think no one cares enough about what I say anyway for it to matter. But if someone wants to come at me in 10 years' time, Guilherme will be fucking quality.
Oh yeah, he's already shown it now from
he'll be a Champions League player. I've no doubt he's going to be fantastic. And I feel like Kante is another one of those players who's going to be a big player. You know, and I think so. I think there are things being done right, and I think isn't that Mark Noble's position looking at?
Yeah. So Mark is So he is the better word, pathway director in essence. So I mean, you've got another young lad coming in the next week or so, Frankie Day from Spurs. He's shit hot. Under 18 striker, and that was Nobes. And that is the benefit of these of Mark. People say, well, what the fuck does he do? The benefit of what he does do is the ability to go and get involved in the negotiations of players, and that makes a massive impression on the kid. I remember interviewing, I think it was Stuart Slater and Ray Stewart, and I think Stuart Slater was 13 or 14, and Ray Stewart was the first team, obviously fullback for West Ham, would go and watch Stewart play. And he said that made such an impact that actually, you know, out of all the kids, he's here to watch me, and he's like a West Ham player. And that's the same Mark Noble. Mark Noble, amongst kids of 16, 17, 18, all they've known is Mark Noble, West Ham.
Yeah.
And he's that marketing role. So he's done that deal. You know, Dan Cummins, that was his deal. He sorted that deal as well. He might not have found them or recruited them, but when it comes to negotiations, when you open the door and there's someone there who's played 500 odd games for West Ham saying, we want you to be in our team, that makes a massive impression on the lad. Trodge made a good point. Yeah, John Lard did that as well. And in fact, even with first team players, I think we interviewed Tom McAllister, the goalkeeper, who's back up to Phil Parks, and he signed Tom McAllister in his car and made him sign a blank contract. And he went, it's blank. He went, well, you trust me, don't you? This is what you're going to get, and this is what you get. But I need it signed, so I've got to go and sort it out with the secretary now. So he never told his wife, but he signed a blank contract with John Lahr. But they were always doing that. I mean, I think Julian Dick speaks about him, like driving him around and picking him up for training, and he got his first car and stuff like that. And that's how business was done in those days.
Yeah, old school management style. They were in charge of everything. I like that with Brian Clough as well, just signing players without even telling the chairman, and then just the chairman had to pick up the bill. You know, you were in charge of a club then, though, weren't you? You were, you know, that was the way it was. You leave the football to the footballing people, and you leave the business to the business people.
Well, there was something I was listening to Talk Sport the other day, and they were talking about the role of that, of like being like a omnipotent manager, and how like that was quite an old fashioned way of business, you know. But actually, when you look at the most successful clubs in the Premier League now, Cities, Arsenal's, to some extent Liverpool, I mean, they're all, and you know, they're all run by Arteta or Guardiola. You know, yes, they've got all the things, but it's their way or the highway. You know what I mean? And and I think for some clubs you need that. Some clubs like Brighton and Brentford, you don't need that model. I think for West Ham you do need that model. You do need that one man. I just think we don't work well under a system. You know, we've had the likes of, you know, John Law, we had Ron Greenwood, Billy Bonds. These guys were in charge of everything, you know, and even when Moyes was here, Moyes wanted, you know, he had the final say in everything. He was him or his team were at every academy game as well. They knew all the players, all the youngsters coming through. And
he managed the board as well.
He did, and he, as I said, I think me and another guy, we were chatting about it, and he was the only one who could work his way through the circus.
Yeah,
he knew how he could, and because it was like an old school way of working, same as, you know, Big Sam did it. You know, Big Sam found relative success in that period as well. As time at West Ham and Pardew as well, you know, and they're all bloody British managers.
Yeah.
I just don't think we're set up.
No, and that is the worry. The thing is, I think there's too many chefs in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know what it is. Like I was saying it the other day, I don't know if David Sullivan is this way in all business, but his micromanagement is worrying for me. You know, just say to the manager, "What do you want?" and I'll get it for you. I think it's a similar way to the way he does business, in all honesty. And I think you see like The Apprentice, and you see how Sugar is, and I imagine Sugar's quite a micromanager as well. Yeah.
So I think that's, and unfortunately that doesn't transpire into running a football club. My brother's in the house, nice to see, and my sister-in-law as well. There we go. That's technically they should watch it on two devices, and that's two viewers. But yeah, and Tom, as you know, designs our logo, and he read a special one for the transfer window.
Yeah, and it is a glorious little logo as well.
Exactly. Jim White would be proud of it. I might actually send it to my mate Jim.
Your mate Jim.
I know Jim. Do you know? Have I told you the story?
Yeah. No.
This is gonna you're gonna think very different of me now, Ben. So anyway, we might as well do, because we're not going to sign any fucking players. We might as well do a task.
Yeah.
So I was in this. Now this sounds really wanky, but I was in LA for one night. I was in the City of Angels for one night. I was working in New York, and I had to go do something in LA. And so when I was in LA, I messaged James Corden, because I know him through West Ham, and James Longman, who's the exec producer, who also used to be on the Knees at Mother Brown podcast, if anyone remembers it, with Chris Gull. So I messaged him and said, "Look, I'm in LA for one night. Can I come, and you got any spare tickets so I can come and watch the show?" Because I was on my own. LA's shit on your own. There's nothing to do. Everywhere's fucking spread out. So he said, "Yeah, come and we'll get your ticket. Come down to the Late Show." So I did that. I started queuing up. Lady came up and took my name. And I said, Russ Budden, and "Oh, follow me, Mr. Budden." So they put me through to the VIP, slapped a gold wristband on me, slapped me in the VIP section. I sat down on this bench, and then this Scottish accent next to me sat down, and I wasn't even paying much attention. He went to the toilet, come back, and it was Jim White and his wife, his partner, Katie. And I started talking to him, and literally we started talking for the rest of the night. we went like, we did all the wanky stuff backstage and shit, the green room and crap, and then we went out for dinner afterwards. And so me and Jim have always stepped in touch. And I saw him, me and Joe saw him walking down Oxford Street, and he came and said, like, we saw each other, we said hello, and Joe had no idea who he was. But anyway, so yeah, he's very good at his job because he winds everyone up. And he's very good at his job.
I like him. I did tweet him the other week. I tweeted him to try and get a donation off him, and I said, look, can you tell your mate Simon Jordan that he spunked enough of his money on Palace, so surely he's got a tenner for a fat bloke running for a good cause.
I'll message him. We'll get it done, Ben. Ben, put a post in here. Put the link in here. Let
me try and find it. He's I do like the way he knows when he's winding people up. And
that's why I pay him.
He particularly gets under Jordan's skin, and you can see it when you can see it when he's really, really getting under his skin. But I do like some of them on there. Some of the hosts on TalkSport are all right. Cannot stand Jamie O'Hara.
Yeah,
cannot stand Jamie O'Hara. But I do miss the old deadline day with Jim.
I do, yeah. I mean, he does it on TalkSport, doesn't he now? But no, yeah, he's good. I do like Drive Time with Darren Bent and Andy Goldstein. He's very good, and I do like, who else do I like? I can't remember who else I like. I like lots of people. What we got here? Jim has a wife, poor Moo. Yeah, he does. Well, his partner Katie, she's lovely. I thought Jim was a shirt lifter. No. Well, no, I don't think so. But lovely man, old Jim. It's the thing about everything. I mean, no one signed anyone today, have they?
Not a lot of players.
Premier League.
I think Strand Larsen's going to fall through now that Mateta's injured. I think that's going to fall through. Nottingham Forest are raiding Celtic, but they're standing firm. Martin O'Neill's not going to let one of his best players go this stage of the season.
I mean, particularly to his old club as well.
Yeah, it's it all seems. I think Liverpool are about to sign that 𝙍𝙀, and then that opens the door potentially to Robertson going to.
Yeah, but Jack, isn't that not happening until? Aren't they buying him and then bringing him in the summer or something like that? I thought. Because they did it to try and get because that's who Chelsea wanted for the 𝙍𝙍 deal, and then Liverpool have basically offered them something ridiculous like 70 million or something like that, I think altogether, but it's not until the summer. So which again, I don't stuff like that really fucking. If I was a Liverpool fan, I'd be really fucked off because we're spending all that money, they might not be in the Champions League.
We got Tottenham signing a youth player, under 18 player from Hearts, who's going to go straight into their academy. They hijacked that one from Arsenal.
Yeah.
I believe, Tottenham unlikely to sign Liverpool left back Andy Robertson before deadline.
Yeah.
Sunderland have picked up a player today, I believe, or they are going to pick up a player. He's having a medical. Surprised that there's no movement from Leeds with. It's not verified yet, but one of my mates is he's in and about the club at Leeds, and he's told me that Calvert-Lewin's been sent for a scan today, and it's not looking good.
Yeah,
but
that brings them back in, doesn't it? That drags them in.
And Joe Rodon's injured as well, so the two of them they've got no cover because Nmetch's injured as well, so they've essentially not got attacking options now. I said to my cousin the other day, I was like, you're only 2 injuries away from being back down there with us. So
yeah,
I think I'm still kind of positive about survival, but it worries me having Kilman for 3 games. Unless 𝙍𝙍 actually happens. Knowing the club, they'll wait until 9:45 tonight to announce it.
Yeah, well, they'll do all the paperwork, won't they? And they've got an hour once the paperwork's been. That's how it usually was, isn't it? So as long as they submit the paperwork by 7:00, they've got an hour to ratify it all. But I wouldn't think you'd need a particularly stringent medical.
Yeah. No.
I
just think he'd be all right. But apparently, I'm reading, again, I don't know how true it is, but I'm reading that we have held talks with Raheem Sterling, but he wants to keep his options open until after the transfer window.
I think he'll go. I think he's waiting for a Saudi side. So I think he's hoping that Duran goes to Juventus or someone like that, because that's what could happen. He refused to play, didn't he, the other day? And he wants to go to Juventus, and if that happens, then Al Nassr could bring in another foreign-based player then, and then that could be Raheem. I think that's he wants the Saudi money. That's the only side that's going to pay him the money, isn't it?
Yeah, it is exactly. I mean, and that is what he's about now. I think he's kind of hit that stage in his career where he thinks he's a bit of a running joke anyway to most football supporters. Yeah. And I think he just, and fair play to him. If there was something I could do in my career where I could just fuck off to Saudi for 3 years and secure my family for generations, yep. I would, because let's face it, he's not going to win the Premier League, is he? He's not going to go. He's not going to one of the big boys. And
he's
even if he does,
the squad.
He's always had a bit of a shit feeling towards him, I guess, probably because the way he kicked out of Liverpool, but he's, even if he did turn his career around, no one would care. No. Like, it's one of them things. I don't blame him.
It'd be one of those ones where he'll go, and if he goes to Saudi, he'll score a shitload of goals, but because of the lack of coverage, you wouldn't know. It's like the whole Ivan Toney's gone quiet, isn't it? Really, he was over it, and that's just gone. You know what I mean? And it's
I saw earlier. I saw Joao Felix is playing out there. I didn't even know. I didn't even know he was out. I didn't even know.
Yeah. It was the same with Ruben Neves, wasn't it? It talk of Ruben Neves coming back as well, because he can come back because he'd been out there for long enough. So there's no tax implications. But I mean, my brother lives in Dubai, and it's like when we do our little podcast, me, Tom, and Simon, it's like it's always 35 degrees out there. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's always pissing down here. So it's not like where would you rather be, Saudi or Stratford? You know, it's like fucking hell. You know what I mean?
And if you can earn the money as well, you know, like there's a lot of positives to it. One of my mates moved out there for work, and he was saying to me, like, there's so much security for him and his family. He hasn't got to worry. And he was living in Brentwood, which isn't bad. He was in a nice part of Brentwood as well. We lived in a really nice part of Brentwood, and it was he was saying to me, there's just so much security. I ain't got to worry about where I park my car. I'm not got to worry about my kids at school. There's a good education. The police are on it. He was like, it's very hot, but all the gyms and stuff are air conditioned. So,
mate, it's brilliant. I love it. I mean, we go there every year. So obviously, and Tom's in the chat. Tom went last year as well. I love it out there, and if Flo ever wanted to work out there, I'd have no problem at all. Because as you said, it's so safe, and I haven't seen a drop of crime out there, because they know what happens if they do. Do you know what I mean? It's just I absolutely love it out there. Although, because then I'm always there for the last game of the season, so I'm there for the last game of the season again. So I'll be in Nelson's with the Dubai Hammers, and their own little piece of the East End. And
maybe you can drop in on the live.
That's what I did last time. Did it live from the thing. It was great fun. Great fun, because it's like it's mental. They got to be a bit careful, because from a YouTube perspective, because obviously they're blaring out all the music. So you got to be, and there's no quiet places there. What's Tom said? There's two. What word is that, Tom? Fucking hell, let's type. With Larson both back at that rival clubs, they want to leave. Fans will not take to that. Could be the best thing to happen. Good. That's a great point, isn't it? Because of Mateta's falling, said he wants to leave, and then that's not happening. And then Strad Larson was meant to be going to Palace, and that's not going to happen now. They've almost got to go back with the tail between their legs. So
I think Mateta's got a harder job back. He's got a harder journey back than Strand Larson.
Yeah. I mean, Strad Larson wasn't even getting much. He wasn't playing like he was sort of in and out of the side, weren't he, a little bit? But did they've sold someone else today? Wolves, they sold another one of their strikers. I think they've still sold a forward or something.
Yeah, but I just see something there. Just see something on there. But I've got I've got Sky Sports News on in the background just in case
Disgruntled.
something happens.
That's it. Well done. Very good, Tom. That's better.
We've got someone watching from Kenya.
Brilliant.
Oh, like,
fair play.
I bet it's hot in Kenya.
I bet it's hot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
it's honestly, I mean, the only reason I feel disappointed is because I thought we'd do more. I believed that we would do more. I really am positive with what we see in the first half against Chelsea, but we need Nuno to stop bottling it in the second half.
It's one of those. Yeah, it's. I mean, I've said it before. I mean, Nuno, he does eventually learn from his mistakes, but this is the one mistake he hasn't learned from yet. You know, it's been times where clearly it's like not working, it's not working, and then it was actually okay. You know, he wasn't. You know, he played on his skulls at right back. No, he doesn't do that anymore now. But he wouldn't play Callum Wilson. Then he played Callum Wilson. Then he's gone 2 up front. He's changed the system around again. He's inverted the centre halves. You know, and the only one he can't break away is bringing on a defender with 30 minutes to go to try and see out a game. And it's cost us 10 points or so this season.
I think it was Luke the other day when he came on straight away in the chat. He was like, he couldn't wait to get Kilman on the pitch. He couldn't wait to get him on there. And, you know, he just needs to learn, you know, obviously we can't go all out attack for 90 minutes, but we just look so much better when we're stepping into teams than when we're stepping off them. It's just
it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, that Chelsea game, again, it just showed you, innit? It showed you we can compete if, you know, we've got the players to compete, if they've got the confidence. But it just ain't working.
No, it's not. It is not. But yeah, ex-West Ham employee has stated no players leaving West Ham.
Well, that's a lie because Adi going.
Yeah, it looks like that's pretty much wrapped up now as well, doesn't it? He's going to Oxford, isn't he?
Yeah, and I think that's probably a good move for him. I think he'll thrive over there. Absolutely thrive. I wonder if I'm trying to think what passport he has access to, because you can. It's like technically Ezra Mayers at the age of 16 could have gone to Germany rather than waiting for 18 because he owns a German passport as well. So there's like some weird European rule, and I think I've got a feeling MK would have has got 2 passports, I think. But I'm not 100% sure. But I'm gutted because I think he's really good. Yeah.
He is really good, but he'll be one of them players who pops up in the Champions League for like a Bundesliga club in a few years, and everyone will be raving about him. And
I hope so. I hope so, because he's a good player, and I think under the right tutelage, under the right, right sort of opportunity, I think he'll thrive. Absolutely thrive.
Yeah, it's and I think that's the thing. We have got some real good players coming through, but we just haven't got the right pathway for them. And fair play to him for going and you know, because it must be quite scary as a young lad to just be like, right, I'm putting my flag in the ground. You either let me play or I'm off.
Well, there's a couple going around because Josh Ajala's in the same boat as well. So Josh Ajala's been punting around France and Germany for a move as well. Because it does come to a point. We've interviewed, and it's not just, and the people are going to say, "Oh, we're not playing." It's not just this group of players. You know, we've interviewed Lee Hodges, Izzy Ikkepen, Adam Newton, and they come to a point in their career where they go, "Do you know what? I could be a bit player here, or I could drop down a league, or now go to another country and get 200-300 appearances under my belt for a club." Hodgie did it with Scunthorpe. Izzy did it with Swansea. Adam Newton did it with Portsmouth. And there is a point in a player's career where they think, do you know what? It's twist or stick. And, you know, Reece Oxford, Josh Cullen, you know, these guys did the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. And I mean, Reece Oxford kind of hasn't really pulled up any trees since, you know, I'm guilty of that as well. I will say I'm guilty of that. I see a player come on, have a good game. Remember oh God, what was his name? Freddie,
Freddie
Freddie,
Sears.
Freddie, Freddie Sears. When he come
Yeah.
on and scored that goal, I was like, "That's it, we're saved. We're going to win the Premier League with this lad." And now he's turning out for I think Billericay or something, Malden or something.
Well, he's on he's with our under-12s. He's coaching under 12s, but he's doing what's name as well.
Yeah.
He's doing he did. Yeah, I think he's playing non-league. But there are, it's true though. It's true, and the trouble is now because of the way other countries are set up with their youth sides, and they implement a lot more youth players into the squads. I think we did a thing. I think I remember doing a thing once, and it was like I looked at the games that are played at League R and the games in the Premier League, and considering there's more teams in the Premier League than League R, there was something like I can't remember the name, but I think it was 20 academy players playing in a starting 11 across all the sides in League R, and it was like 8 in the Premier League. And that's the trouble, you've got to literally, like I always say, 97% of all Premier League academy players never play 1 minute of Premier League football. And we've done well, I think, but we can always do better. But we've done well.
I think it'd be good. Give me 1 second. I can hear my washing machine is going off on one. Let me just go and pause my washing machine.
Yeah, no worries, mate. Drop off.
Oh,
fucking hell! Here he is. He weren't coming. He just turns up. You all right?
Oh man, was one of the most exciting transfer deadline days.
Not.
An hour to go.
Woo! Here we go. Neymar signing.
Oh man. But essentially, it comes down to the fact that if we sign someone today, it's a panic buy, is the way I describe it, within reason. Especially now, especially this transfer window in particular. I get signing players to the last minute. I get that, but we've been nowhere near anything, and the last couple of weeks have felt panicky. At West Ham, and watching your video you did the other day, you just don't get it, and that's simply how I can describe it. I just don't get it. I don't get it because we're vying for Premier League safety, and we clearly need people in that position. I'm also on the same wavelength and understanding that why would players want to come to us? I get that. I do think there is an element of that. I absolutely do.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt.
But
If you're paying permanently, if you're going to pay permanent money for someone, and them knowing in 6 months they could be in the Championship, and fuck off to another side, you're uprooted. You go away for someone like everyone talks about Charlie Cresswell, right? Charlie Cresswell, he'll come back over to the UK, reallocate from Toulouse to London. Say we go down, we might not, but say we do go down, which is more than probable statistically, then we'd end up, he'd either have to hang around the Championship, which he could easily be playing European football, saying it to lose, or we sell him to another club and he has to go to Manchester or to someone else. So I get it. We're not an attractive club at the moment from a league position to go to. So the only way you do that is overpay through wages, and then we'll be really up ship creek without a paddle. We're in this position which is no win.
Yeah,
there's no winners. We lay out money which we could easily do, and then we go down, or we get in loan to buys, loan options, and it's the cheap option. Now, obviously, we all want to go out and spend money on players. Of course, we want to do. That's the best bit of football, buying players. And people say, "Oh, we'll just go and get Charlie Cresswell." Charlie might not come. Fucking Disassi doesn't look like he wants to come to us. Do you know what I mean? That's a loan deal from like, I don't know, half an hour, 45-minute drive from where he's at now. So it's not like he's got to move countries or ever. It's it's really is. I
think it's just, again, it comes down to the fact that we made early moves and we were quite excited about West Ham signing a couple of attackers earlier in the window, and thought, shit, that goes against everything that West Ham have done in the last few seasons, and that's good, and let's keep the momentum up, and let's turn our attention to the positions we need. And I listened to young Jakey Boy earlier on, and he described it well. You know, West Ham are sleepwalking. We for a while there, we were sleepwalking in the transfer window. Then we woke up. Then we sleepwalked again. And then we woke up to sign Traore, and now we're sleepwalking. But he actually described it as sleep running, because that's the way we are. We're sleep running our way to relegation. And I know there's an element of hope amongst fans, and I know we can look at all the statistics, etc., but when it comes down to it, we are signing a player that doesn't want to play for us, but will come if need be to get some game time. Okay, and those things can work out, but they can equally fuck up. And he's not had a competitive game since April, so he's gone on the best part of 8 months? Is that 8 months?
Yeah,
without a competitive game. We're then going to be shown the way of going, he's going to need time to bed in. So we've got 3 games without Todibo, questionably our better centre-half.
Yeah.
And we've got a player in Koeman who's short of confidence.
Yeah.
Absolutely shook of confidence. And a manager that seems to make wild... I just can't get what happened with Chelsea. I just can't get my head over the decision at that time, at that moment, to do what he did. But when it comes down to the fact is, we've known now... you would have thought we'd have been doing our due diligence 12 weeks ago. Yet, here we are, Russ. 55 minutes to go, waiting on 𝙏𝙍𝘼𝘼 to sign a deal. But this is what 𝙏𝙍𝘼𝘼 will do, right? He'll do the medical. And it'll all be sitting there ready to go. And he'll make a last minute decision.
Yeah. He's waiting. He's still waiting for AC Milan to come in. He's waiting for AC Milan to come in. You know, the fact is, Chelsea...
or will he sit? Will he sit and want to be part of West Ham? Because even if AC Milan don't come in, Russ, and at this stage, and I know AC Milan and big clubs over Europe will have a moment, an opportunity to do medicals elsewhere, London, all that sort of stuff. I know they're very capable of doing that. But even if that ship has sailed, 𝙏𝙍𝘼 still might not fancy West Ham. He clearly doesn't fancy West Ham. And you mentioned it earlier on. Who was the example? Todibo.
Yeah, he didn't want to go to us. He wanted to go to Juventus, and then it was like literally, I've got it. You know, they haven't come in, or what they offered wasn't what he wanted, and so he came to West Ham. And but don't forget, I think there's a point of thing where 𝙏𝙍𝘼, will be using this to his own advantage. He knows we're desperate for a centre half. He knows we're desperate. So although there's, he'll want a bonus or something. There'll be an incentive to help us stay up within that contract. He's got all the cards, and even more so from Saturday onwards. Even more from Saturday onwards. Saturday onwards with JTT going off, that just put another, price top on top of everything. So, it's just weird, very strange. Very strange. All right, Halls, how's it going?
How's it going? Happy deadline day.
Happy deadline day to you. Busy as always.
Oh, so busy. So much going on. So
busy. My fingers are hurting by typing up so much. All these signings we've made.
Cannot keep
Sorry,
up.
I was just on to an agent there, just finding out what was happening. West Ham are signing fucking no one.
Here we go. Well, that's the list.
Blimey.
That's the list as we look at it. Those are the players we've been linked with this January transfer window. 134, I think it is so far. I think that'll be it now. But maybe one more green by the end.
Russ, just out of interest, Russ, right? I'm assuming you put the players' names in as they come along, so therefore that is in order of when we're linked to them.
No, it's alphabetical order.
You've done it as alphabetical order. It'd be interesting to know. It
could be. Yeah, it might be a way to do it next year. It might be fucking easier than me doing it alphabetical order. To be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, just like go. All right, I've got to move it all along. Actually, that makes more sense. Far more sense.
Oh dear. What are we saying? Do we reckon we're going to get the final signing over the line?
Do you know what I am saying? I'm saying that Crystal Palace are throwing 20 million quid at Dwight McNeil. It's just fucking mental. Like, and I know Everton fans are like, listen, you know, they love him. They actually really like him. Think he's a quality Premier League player, but they are happy to take 20 million quid. And I'm just sorry. I just wanted to quickly throw that out there that there's clubs like Everton and Crystal Palace currently out there throwing money, like Nottingham Forest. And I heard you saying there, Nottingham Forest have thrown £25 million at Celtic player, their best player. But it's the most ridiculous thing that they've not accepted that. Because Celtic can, the whole model in Scotland, Celtic can survive without him.
Okay.
And with him. And it's the financial model, so I don't know what they're doing. Anyway, sorry, I'm just off on another tangent.
Mad decisions left, right, and centre.
if we'd, in the same way, if we'd signed Dwight McNeil for £20 million, the fan base would have gone apoplectic, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Go fucking
Well,
£20 million.
I definitely don't want it.
Isn't it? It's so true. I mean, you look at Strad Larson for 45 million, or and it's crazy money they're throwing. And that's the issue. You get to that desperation, and you are throwing money at everyone. As I said, we've been trying with that Real Betis defender Nathan for like 36. Never heard of him. 36 million total package, and we tried to get Federico Gatti from Juventus, and it's just literally anyone. It seems this scattergun approach, but it's every year. Even when we had Tim Steidten, it was still scattergun, wasn't he? Do you remember him flying to Brazil on the last day to try and get Yuri Alberto over the line and stuff? And it's just, I just never understand it.
I would love to see behind the scenes. Like, can you imagine like a Netflix series that just follows West Ham over a transfer window?
It'd be the most successful. It'd be the most successful, like the modern day one though. It'd be the most successful fucking TV sports program in the world.
They did though, didn't they? They did. It was on Sky Sports. They did a thing called Transfer Window, and they sort of half involved West Ham in it. And they turned, one of the players' agent turned up, and they had like a meeting in like a restaurant in London. And then they sort of left. They went, don't think it's going to happen. And it was like, it just seems like how West Ham operate. We sort of turn up all like, fancy dad, and they go, no, we don't want you. I would, because obviously there's so many people involved in the whole process. You got, the club secretary and stuff like that involved in it as well. And it's, I'd love one club to be brave about it and do something like that.
Can you imagine? Because no one would, like, the agents wouldn't want the behind the scenes to be shown. The players probably wouldn't like it. There'd be so many sign-offs you'd have to get for it to happen, but it would be glorious to just see the absolute roller coaster of transfer window. Because I just have so many questions. I wonder if we have tried the whole window to get a centre back, or whether we've just waited till halfway through and gone, now's probably the time. I just would love to see. I would love to see.
But for me, Holly, and this is why I've done a couple of videos on it, and I'm probably going to do shitloads more videos on it. But I think, and I know we don't know this for facts, but for me, sometimes I build up every single scenario and say, like, if it's there, like it is what it is. So we can guess, or we can look at it as it's presented to us. Yeah. And it does look like West Ham have got a scattergun approach to their transfers. Like the evidence over the last couple of years, if you look from before Tim Steidten, into bringing in Tim Steidten, into bringing in what's his chops from Brighton,
Kyle
McCauley, into getting rid of him. The evidence is there. The evidence is clearly there for me, without having to be a fly on the wall. Obviously, I'd love to see it because it would prove everything that we all know. But it's just the constant involvement, and it's got to be the common denominator. It's got to be the common denominator.
Yeah, I mean, any good business, they're going to put the right people in charge of what they're best at and let them run with that, aren't they? I mean, you see, even Luis Guilherme, the fact that we brought him in for so much money, didn't really have a purpose or a plan for him. We managed to recover a decent amount of money, but you look at that and it's another example of just sort of heading in all these different directions all the time and not having one clear approach. And if I'm a player and I get approached and someone comes to me and goes, you are the centre-back we want, this is the role we see you playing, we want to go all in on you, and it's the start of the transfer window, and this is what your role will be, I'm going to be so much more inclined to take that deal, obviously, than if it feels like a more scattergun approach, or there's rumours in the media that there's however many different centre-backs that we're linked with. So, yes, it's a mad one, the transfer window. The only thing I would say is, I suppose all my friends that follow different football teams also feel like the transfer window is just carnage and disappointment and stress in general. There are very few teams that just strategically approach, publicly anyway.
But I do think though, you know, and I know we've got the rose-tinted glasses on in terms of West Ham, but I mean, I don't know. I've not looked at the stats, but I'm assuming. I mean, I know Premier League teams haven't bought players today, but Premier League teams have bought players throughout the whole window, and you would assume that they would most would want to do the business as early as they can.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, man. My head's up my arse, to be honest with you, with the whole thing.
You do, Holly. You get the yellow. Yeah, I think it's you know, I was talking to an Arsenal fan, and obviously they spoke about, obviously you look at Man City's business. They brought in some players who are possibly going to win them the league. I think, you know, a good chance to. You know, they needed to, you know, teams like City, they go, right, we need a centre half and we need another forward. Bang, bang, bang. We'll get two of the best ones in the Premier League. There's no adjustment period needed. You know, in January, you haven't got time to adjust. You need people hitting the ground running. And they've gone out and got Semenyo, who's arguably the hottest striker in the Premier League at the time. And they got Mark Gállagher as well. He's a fantastic, you know, defender as well. So they went and got the right people at the right time. Very few the best clubs do that.
Yeah, the best clubs do that. Yeah. No, but that's and that's a good point, talking about the best clubs doing it. But then you've got to look at the clubs in and around what we're doing, and let's look at Nottingham Forest for an example. Yeah, they're flexing their muscle. You know, they're at least tempting something. They're throwing, whether or not theirs could be a scattergun approach as well, but they're throwing money at people just to get something in, because they know they need something in to be able to solidify their approach. I'm not saying that's the way I want it done. I just thought we would be doing things better, and to look at what we've got available when we're struggling. Fucking hell, we're struggling defensively. Like. We look like absolute donkeys. Every game. Every single game.
Yeah.
Every single game.
Yeah, there's no denying that the defence is our biggest problem right now. I think our attack actually looks all right, but you can't need to score 3 or 4 goals a game to get anything from a game, can you? It's just not sustainable.
Yeah. Yeah. It's mind-boggling. It's just gambling with the situation that we're in, and I before the QPR game, I said I put a stake in the ground. I'll start fresh. I'll think, I'll treat the season like a brand spanking new season, and it felt right for me to do that at the time. And then I just, when Paco kind of looked like he was stopping Nuno making that substitution,
yeah,
and then he made the substitution. It's just perplexed me completely. Like, I'm absolutely I've never felt so fucking baffled in my life. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Because the momentum had switched, and then he just encouraged the momentum. That was the issue. It wasn't like go against the momentum. It was just encourage the momentum. And again, Russ, we've had this conversation. How many times have we spoken about this? The proof's in the pudding. We do not know how to defend a lead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, what are we going to do the next game? Try and defend a lead. It's fucking stupid.
It's a definition
stupid.
It's a definition of madness, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Even under Moisey, under Moisey, he would do the same things again and again. And the definition of madness is trying to do the same thing and hoping for a different solution, and it never changed. I think. I mean, I thought the Sassy deal was sort of looking good, and then I think the issue was fucking Todibo getting sent off against Chelsea, because then that really put an extra emphasis. Right, we need to get this done, and then obviously we're the whipping boys then, because we go to anyone and say, "Can we have your centre half?" And then they full well that A, we need a centre half already, and B, we're not going to get a centre half. Our main centre half is out for 3 games. So it was like, even obviously, we're going to get bent over a barrel with anyone we tried to go with. But it's the lack of, if we'd, and the 𝙍𝙍 deal was going to happen a week ago, 10 days ago, and then Chelsea couldn't get 𝙍𝙍. He's going to Liverpool. But obviously, they still wanted it to happen because they've brought back Mamadou Sarr from Strasbourg. They didn't let Achimpong go to Palace, I think, today. I think Palace tried to get Achimpong in, and they said no. But we're not going to end up with the 𝙍𝙍. We're going to literally be getting Kurt Zouma in tomorrow.
I think
but that's the thing. I'm looking at the free agents market as well. I mean, I don't know if you've looked at it, but I'm looking at it now. Like, I mean, I don't know. Will they even fucking go down the route of the free agent market? We clearly need players. They're not getting players in. So why are they then going to move into the free agent market when, for what? Like
Kurt Zouma on a pay-as-you-play deal like Callum Wilson. Calling it now.
It hurts my soul that we have got to the end of the transfer window and we have not got a centre-back, and we're talking about whether 𝙍𝙍 is or isn't even going to be a West Ham player. What have we got? 40 minutes to go. We knew he was undergoing his medical. And how are we talking about
this medical was like 9:30. It was booked in the morning. It's like, fucking hell, whatever.
And I know then they said that apparently he didn't necessarily want West Ham, and like, I can't blame him completely. I don't think many.
We're gonna get Igor. Igor is gonna come back. We're getting Igor back. That's what's happening.
Bring him in.
I mean, even now, in hindsight, even getting rid of him, sending him back to Brighton.
Yeah.
Actually,
insane.
In hindsight, at least he would have been a body.
Yeah. What kills me is the day before the transfer window, all I said is, we've just got to fix centre-back. Everyone was saying it's the one problem that has to be addressed this window. Other things would be nice. And we had a good start, didn't we? It was fast. Pablo, Tati.
Yeah.
We thought, okay, not who we needed most desperately, but good signings. They proved to be decent. Hopefully that'll bring a bit of energy. Now we work on the centre-backs. And here we are. It's never a dull day at West Ham, is there?
There isn't.
I can't imagine going into a deadline day actually feeling comfortable. That'd be very odd.
I mean, I've not seen. I mean, listen, we've never had the one where we signed Alex Song and all that, Antonio and stuff. That was the best one in more recent history. But apart from that, we've never had a massive successful one. But I'm not bothered about having a successful transfer deadline day. I'm just bothered about having a successful transfer window. And we've just gone about this terribly wrong, unless they pull something out of the bag in the next fucking 10 minutes. So we know they're not, but unless they do and convince us otherwise, it's just it's wild.
The thing is, what's going to happen is, we're going to get to the press conference on Thursday, and then they're going to ask Nuno about the lack of a centre back signing, and we're going to get the same tripe drilled out to say, "Oh, we tried." It's like this should be dealt with at the same time as we're dealing with fucking Tati and Pablo. You know what I mean? It's just, it was almost like then it was like that seemed to be like the last chance for Nuno. Shows we're backing him, and then it's like, okay, then it goes quiet again. But it was then when we should have had that centre back sorted. It was as I said, we all wanted that at the beginning. Yes, exactly.
Our
adequate,
have dropped, haven't they? We want a world-class centre-back. We want to find like a Craig Dawson, and now we're just saying we just need someone adequate.
What are they going to say on Thursday? Did you say, Russ?
Well, it's a press conference, isn't it? So you have the press conference. What are they going to say? Well,
what are they going to say though?
They'll ask a question. They'll say the journalist will ask a lack of signings, and he'll just go, "Yeah, well, we tried," and and it's like. No.
Oh, it's the wrong one. I fucking put it on the wrong one. Fuck. Put it in the background. It didn't work. Sorry.
Just saw Karen Brady's mouth appear.
Oh, he's trying to be funny. Oh, we tried. Very good.
We tried.
Indeed.
We tried. Ekim saying, I knew we were in trouble when I saw Russ sitting in the dark. Lights off.
Well, I'm in my car. Ever confident.
Chosen to switch the lights off.
Yeah, exactly.
Feeling sad.
I'm at Rush Green. I'm literally in Rush Green. There's no one here. There we go. Everyone go home.
So the update is apparently from Jack Rosser. His medical's been completed. His results are now being checked. That's the update. Do you know what? Listen, I know we do this, right? I know we do this. I know we do the West Ham Network. I know we do social media. I know we report on it, but it drives me. I don't know why the fuck I do it, because it drives me utterly fucking insane. It drives me utterly insane. I'm sitting being told his results are now being checked. I fucking know his results are getting checked. I don't want to fucking know it. I may as well just put a show out about it. His results are getting checked.
Didn't we sign Julio, like Igor Julio, like the same thing with like minutes to spare?
Yeah,
because he was going to go to Palace, wasn't he? He was going to go to Palace, wasn't he? I think at the time, and we sort of sniped in there at the end to get it over the line. But it's a sad indictment of where we are at the moment, in that we're excited about someone who doesn't want to be here turning up. Not even excited, but we're just relieved we've got someone in.
Yeah, I think normally if you had someone like hours before they potentially signed didn't want to come, we'd be like, no, get rid of them. Like, we want someone that's going to be here.
Fuck it.
Now I'm like, that's okay. None of us really want to be here.
No, none of us want. We're fans. We don't want to be here. Yeah, no, it's a good point. It's a good point. I think. As I said, it was the same thing with Todibo, and he sort of got it. He was obviously on loan with we didn't buy him out right at the beginning, did we? We had him on loan with obligation to buy, and he wanted to go to Juventus, and that fell through. And the same thing with 𝙏𝙍𝘼𝘼𝙍 and AC Milan, it seems. But
and I want to know, we're not an attractive team to come to at the moment. Like, I get it, we are a relegation contender, and if you're getting word that there's a chance you might be able to go to AC Milan, of course you're going to be looking towards that.
Oh, of course.
He wants game time, and my hope is that he's got the right attributes for what we need at West Ham if we can bring 𝙏𝙍𝘼𝘼 in, and he'll have a point to prove, and that's the kind of player that I suppose we need. I just want us to bring in someone at this point, if I'm honest, because it is criminal to have got, if the window closes and we not only have not brought in a centre-back, but we've got rid of Julio, I think to be weaker than we started is a real concern.
Yeah.
And point, I try anything. Like, if a centre back comes in who's good in the air, right? That's one thing 𝙏𝙍𝘼𝘼 is. He's supposed to be good at communicating. So those two things alone could be helpful for us.
Well, I mean, I think it's believed the plan is Nuno sees him alongside Todibo. So, and with Areola, you got a little French connection there.
True.
FC UK, a little French connection there. I think that's the plan. And if they brought in, if Magassa then plays, he speaks French natively as well. So but I think that's the triangle he's looking for. Although Ben's got the exclusive. I have had my medical. I'm at Rush Green, and I will be signing in the next few short minutes. I think Nick made a good point from Claret and Booze a bit further up, saying about crumbs and. Literally been throwing crumbs. When you're starving, even a cracker looks tasty. I think actually that's an Irish Tommy. I think Irish Tommy said that as a line. Nick that. But you're probably right. It could be a case, and we're always looking for the conspiracy theorists that it might be the fact that we've dragged this out intentionally to sort of kill transfer day, and then at the end we get a loan signing which is going to cost us really fuck all really in terms of what we've done, and as you said, still made a profit, but the fans would be grateful that we've got a centre half in, because we need something, and I get that, Nick, totally. I understand that theory. Makes perfect sense.
It's brutal, isn't it? Because I think just taking a look here, just for talking about the profit, we've got the outgoing players here. It's a massive list, a lot of players that we're going to have saved a lot of money on wages. And when you look at those fees, Paqueta, we've got decent money for. Guilherme, we've got decent money for. And again, we've got so many players that we're not paying their wages. Sold them for 54.5 million plus the undisclosed Rodriguez money. And then who we've brought in here, we've literally got a total spend of 48. Pablo, Tati, I'm happy with them, to be completely honest. Traoré didn't cost us much, gives us another option. Lovely. La Madrid isn't really changing anything for the first team at the moment, so kind of by the wayside. And then you look at that, and we've made more money than we've spent, and we've got so many less players, some of which Paqueta, Fulkrug, who would have been on massive wages.
Yeah.
So you're looking at all of this and going, we've managed to basically save so much money. So should we be in a position where right now we're just throwing money like some teams are going, we've got to do something at the last minute to...
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. You know, you made it. I mean, we've made a profit trying to in a situation where we're being, you know, we're in the relegation zone. So, you know, in terms of the wage, I think that's the key thing. You mean, you know, we're saving, I don't know, I reckon £500,000 a week in wages at least.
Yeah.
We've saved, because, you know, Paqueta will be on 100, Fulkrug will be on 100, JWP, I think we're paying 30% of his work. So, you know, add it all together, I reckon it's a good £300-400 million we're saving.
Yeah.
And it's like
100%.
that is for a free, you know, that should have been, we should have been spending it, you know, because it doesn't make any sense apart from whether they're just literally shutting up shop to make sure we're financially viable for going down. That's the way it looks to me. When you make a profit in a relegation transfer window, that shouldn't be it. You should be throwing money at the problem,
and it's not
we haven't.
Because, like, you see the teams around us that are trying to put money anywhere they can into turning the fate around. We've got so many games, and all we'd need is any of that bottom four to not have a great patch and us do better, and I think we'd be okay. So I really hope that we're not just looking at it from a perspective of we're going down, let's just prepare and let's save money. Because right now I feel like we have a fighting chance, especially when you look at the last few games, the fact that we can attack. It's just the amount of goals that we're conceding. If we can stop the leak there, I think it'd make a massive difference. We look at how many points we've thrown away from winning positions. If we got half of those, we'd be in a completely different position, and we're only really halfway through the season pretty much. So there's everything to still fight for. And in my opinion, and even I guess if I own the club and I'm just looking at this purely from a money perspective, the money you'll lose by going down into the Championship, especially if you're ever intending to sell up, is crazy. So in my head, I just can't get my head around why you wouldn't just put everything.
That's the narrative I don't understand, because when people are saying, oh, well, you know, he's preparing for the Championship, he's asset stripping. The issue is the value of the club will decrease by 50% if you go down, and his wages will, his shares will decrease by 50%.
Yeah.
And that's what I don't understand. That's what I don't understand.
Yeah, I'd understand asset stripping from a perspective of trying to cut down costs for a Championship season. But like you're saying, when you own a portion of the club, what you actually have asset-wise is going to literally be cut in half overnight by going down. So spending whatever you can within financial fair play, just putting everything on the line and spending, even if it means at the last hour, spending more than you should on a player. If you think that's the player that's going to make the difference, for me, like you said, I just can't get my head around not giving it absolutely everything. And we know that players are going to be such a massive part of whether we can turn our fortunes around in the next few months. So I hope by some miracle we can make something different. But I really hope we can bring in 𝙍𝙍. I really, really hope we can, because time is.
And that's why I sort of agree with not Nick said at Claret Booze. You know, it's almost like you said, I just want 𝙍𝙍 in there, and it's like, I just want 𝙍𝙍. So he'll come in and we'll go, but actually we shouldn't be because it's a loan signing and we've made £6 million profit plus £500,000 a week savings on wages. So it's not it's a it's a really good point, Nick, and I don't usually agree with Nick, as he knows, but I do that time. We
put enough glitter on it that we're all pleasantly surprised.
Exactly. Right? If you put enough glitter on the shit, it'll look good. Brilliant. Right, what we got? Let's get some comments on. Enter Golombekis, my boy. He's still injured though. He's out for 2 weeks with a back injury. He told me the other day. So there we go. But yeah, good old Idris. Right, what we got? Anything funny? When you're in the bottom three, says Victor, you need players that are happy to fight for you. Problem I'm not seeing a lot of players do. They do not want a relegation fight. Fair enough. Players don't want relegation in their CV.
No.
Same as managers don't want relegation on CV. So I get that, and I think there's some that have and some that don't. So some like Tommy Souček, I always think he's up for a fight.
Yeah.
But actually, you saw that Chelsea game. We've got a lot of players up for a fight. You know, if it kicks off, I was quite impressed they all joined in together rather than in previous iterations. When like Paqueta we got booked and he basically talked himself into the sending off, and and like it was almost like the players just left them to get on with it.
No one
On
stepped
that
in.
Chelsea game, one in, all in, and it was Traore who just joined as well.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
And I think as well, you do see now when we concede, the players are not looking at the ground and flapping arms. And that's one thing that was really killing me earlier in the season. Every time we messed up, it was like they were looking up at the sky and flapping their arms like this. And no one seemed to want to take accountability for it, but wanted to feel hard done by on the pitch. And I don't feel like we're looking like that at the moment. When we do concede, we seem to, I mean, we might play very negative, slow football and not fix what the problem is. But at the same time, they're not necessarily giving up mentally, but I think we've just got to stop conceding in the way that we are. And attacking wise, we are attacking nicely. Like what we saw against Chelsea in that first half, it gave me hope. Russ, I was there like, we're staying up. And then the second half.
That was it, for me. If we play like that, we're up, we stay up. If we don't play the second half, we're down.
Yeah. And the first half, desperately.
I think it was the best half of football I've seen for 18 months.
Yeah, agreed.
It was like flicks, tricks, there was confidence, there was pace, there was options. There was almost at times Fernandes got the ball and there was too many options for him. He didn't know what to do, whether to dink it over the left for Somerville, through the middle for Tati, or out the right for Bowen. And that hasn't happened this season. Usually the only option for Fernandes is either someone marked in front of him, which he passed it to, or he has to give it back to maintain possession. What we got here? What's breaking news? Oh no, he's got breaking news. Anton's got breaking news. 𝙏𝙍𝘼𝘉, he's gone to FC. I'm gutted about that one. You spelled 𝙏𝙍𝘼 wrong, Anton. It's MEEEME, not EMI. Yeah, I'm gutted about that. That came out. Yeah, it came out today. He is a superstar. And he's signed for the Dutch side, FC Utrecht. Apparently, Juventus, Borussia Dortmund were all interested in him. Thank you. And, gutted. He's a hell of a player, and he's going to really smash it up in the Dutch league. And good luck to the lad. And that's the trouble. That's what me and Ben were saying this earlier on today. It gets to a point where a player has to decide what they want to do, whether they want to stay and become a bit player, or whether they want to go and have a career. And I think he's gone to have a career. Wish him all the best. He's absolutely gutted. He's a great player. Absolutely great player.
I don't know if there's something that's broken about _𝙍𝑖, but there's quite a few saying that the deal is off unless he gets an extra 20k.
Well, he doesn't. It's not. We're under contract under Chelsea, so it's the percentage we pay to Chelsea of his wages. So I don't understand that, what people are saying. He's part, but there's clap because of player demand. See, that could be bonuses in respect of. So it won't be wages because the wages will be the wages that Chelsea pay him, but it's the proportion of Chelsea of the wages we pay Chelsea. That might be bonus payments for staying up.
23 minutes.
And he's got it.
Imagine he's got the paper hovering over the paper, going more.
The thing is, he has got all the cards.
Yeah. What else are we going to do?
Them all.
No options other than him. We're desperate for a centre back. Like you said, Todibo getting sent off makes us even more desperate. He literally has all the cards, and we're sitting there begging him.
Well, the fact is, he signs, and he gets first team football. He don't sign, and he wouldn't even on the bench for the Chelsea game, and he will carry on being a reserve. So it's up to him what he wants to do. If he doesn't want to play first team football, fuck off then. It's like, if you want to sit on the bench and be a sub, good luck to you. They've already brought back Mahamadou. They're going to bring back Mahamadou Sarr because they freed up the space. They can send him out on loan. So that's one player who fucking Liam Rossini loves more than him because he played with him at Strasbourg. He played under him. So it's ridiculous.
'Tis true. Combine the first half of Tottenham, first half of Chelsea, make it 90 minutes, and that's a team who don't go down.
Exactly.
That's the thing. It's baffling that we can't do. I understand tiring in the second half, but why can't we just do it for 90 minutes, even at a slower pace? Just even if it was 60% of the first half, I think we'd have still got something from that game. Hopefully, we can just build some momentum. Because the other thing I would say, when this window closes, it's all or nothing, and it's on those players. There's no more players coming in to save us. There's no more new ideas. If we're backing Nuno and those are our squad, then it is literally all on them to make it happen. And I wonder whether we're going to thrive a little bit under that responsibility and players are going to take it on themselves to make something happen, or whether we're going to just crumble and accept defeat, because it's far from gone. I know I'm always in the more positive, optimistic bunch of fans, but we've got so many games and we've just seen in 2 games we can get 6 points. If we can do that one more time, like, we're in such a different position.
If we can grab 6, and that's what I mean, like Tom and my brother, we were on our little WhatsApp group this afternoon, and for me, I think Forest. I don't look at Forest now as the yardstick. I look at Leeds and Palace now, just because I think Forest, we've had our chance with them. We've played them. We had our chance. We've still got to play Palace. We've still got to play Leeds. Still got to play Bournemouth. We've still got to play Burnley. We've still got to play Wolves. So apart from Forest, we've got to play all the teams around us who can potentially go down. And I think if we can get it down, you got to think, from Leeds and Palace, that's down to 3 points. If we, as long as we, because if we say we beat Leeds, for example, last game of the season, all we need to be is 2 points behind them before we play them last game of the season. And with Palace, a similar situation as well, and I just think this, and the whole, if we're led to be believed, according to reports that Calvert-Lewin might be injured, and Joe Rodon's out as well, that is massive for them, massive, and that could really make a good stance. Nick, I hope he heard me compliment him and actually say I agree with something he said the other day just now.
He did.
So we have a good plan A. Trouble is, we are facing teams with depth. Yeah, exactly. You're totally right. And I think if anything, it proves how far we are away from the likes of Chelsea in terms of squad depth. When Chelsea can bring on £500 million worth of players, which is roughly what they did to win the game off the bench, where we'd bring on traditionally, not obviously now, but traditionally Rodriguez and Andy Irvine, who we played about 100 grand in total for both of them, just shows you the difference and how far we are away from these guys. And that's something we have to look at seriously if they want to even compete with, for Europe and stuff like that. You need to have a squad again, and we had that for a period. And Moyes couldn't work with that squad, having almost 2 in every player. He wasn't used to working with a squad, but nowadays the modern manager needs to have a squad of 20 players ish, all who could come in at the drop of a hat, and we haven't got that. We just don't have that.
No, and it puts so much more pressure on our starting 11, because when someone isn't performing, it's a question of who do you bring off the bench, and are they actually going to make us worse than we are with the player that's not doing well on the pitch? And you only need a player to have a bad game, and we're just in the absolute pits, aren't we, every single time? So there's the lack of perfect squad starting 11, and then the lack of squad depth as well, which obviously is going to cost us, because we can't rest players, we can't make technical decisions mid-game to switch things up positively. So like you've said there, we've got a good plan A, but later on is when that does cost you, when you haven't got that ability to switch things up.
That's the thing. It's the plan B. And again, I know I keep talking about Moyes all the time, but Moyes never had a plan B either.
No,
it was his way or the highway, and it never worked. And if it works, it works. But when it didn't work, it was like, what do we do? To give Nuno credit, he has changed the way we've played. See, under his time, he's gone with 2 up front, which isn't something he's ever done, I don't think. He always plays the 4-2-3-1 formation or 3 at the back. So to play 2 up front is very in essence a 4-4-2. It is very different than what he's used to before. But if that don't work, it then reverts to the back 3, which just doesn't work, full stop.
Yeah, and that's what Danny's saying here. You can't continue to go defensive when we take the lead, because we're not good enough to sit back and allow pressure. And it literally is that. We are not good enough at defending to be able to have the luxury of going defensive, and bringing defensive players on, if anything, just means we don't hold the ball. And then we've got subpar defensive techniques, just getting the ball coming back our way constantly. Even in Chelsea, you could see how we were just getting the ball and hoofing it up aimlessly, not even trying to hold possession at that point, because we were just knackered from just constantly getting attacked. So I think we've got
Yeah.
a lot of work that we need to do. I guess it's a real problem if a team isn't good enough to be able to ever go defensive. But like people have said, and like we've said today, it's just frustrating because we know it doesn't work for us. Nothing has changed in terms of the players we've got available, and we just try it again and we try it again, and every time we're proven that it's a terrible idea basically for us at the moment.
It's true, so true.
What have we got? Have a look at the comments. Let us know your thoughts on the transfer window. If you haven't, make sure you give this video a little thumbs up as well. Goes a long way to supporting us all. Make sure you subscribe.
And also follow us on Twitter,
yes,
or X, and TikTok, and Facebook. Join the Facebook group as well. We've got about 15,000 on our Facebook group, and the Instagram. We're everywhere. We are absolutely everywhere.
We are absolutely massive. Garino, clubbish shambolic, so many gaps and issues still not addressed by the incompetent board, who are the common denominator every window. Despite the need to strengthen, we have managed to weaken. Yes, I'll bring it up one more time. When we take a little look at the players that have left, we have lost a lot of different players there, a lot less wages that we're spending, and just a lot of money spent. When you look at that, there aren't many players that we were going to necessarily rely on as part of our...
And I know we've been talking about, one of the things he's been saying in press conferences is about squad rebalance. And to be honest, as I said, we've got a squad which is a Frankenstein squad. I've said that lots of times. We've got players bought under 5 different managers now. And, the likes of Ward-Prowse, Rodriguez, Irvin, they weren't getting any game time and they were sitting on the bench. And actually, if it means that now someone like Lewis Orford can get into the squad now, instead of Rodriguez taking up a squad's place, it could be Kante could take up the squad place more often. And, that for me is the right way to go. Rodriguez will be on stupid money because we signed him on a free. James Ward-Prowse is on 100-something million, under something thousand a week. Andy Irvin will be on 20. I think he's not a lot, about 25, 30 grand. But still, those 3 players who weren't going to make an impression, really, if you could bring on now in the squad someone like Orford, Kante, and one other, or it would have been Adieli, but he's fucked off to the Holland now. At least then, I think that makes sense. I don't see, for me, you don't, I don't think we've weakened the midfield, because actually it's replacing expensive players and bringing in the academy players, which everyone wants us to do. We want to bring in pathway players. We want to bring in boys up into the academy. And if it means that Lewis Orford plays against Burton Albion next week in Kante, I think everyone would be happy with that, personally.
Yeah, and when we talk about that balance, I guess the difficulty is we're looking at a massive list of players that have left.
Yeah.
And a very small list of players that come in. We're all sitting here going, well, that's not balanced. But if you look at how many of these in this list we actually thought were going to play a part in our relegation battle here, Paqueta ideally would have stayed and helped. James Ward-Prowse could have potentially been an option. You look at the rest, and essentially it's kind of squad depth that brings. So if we're looking at balance for the starting 11, I wouldn't say we've damaged it massively, but we were relying on bringing in some more fresh faces to be able to make a difference to a point where we were comfortable. I think if we were happy with this window and you looked at that and said, we've brought more balance, have we got rid of some fringe players that we didn't really have any intention of using? Yeah. And I think that's what we probably needed to do. And you should have a squad that's lean enough. So you've got your starting 11, your squad depth, and then you don't have others just sort of hanging on and clinging on that you're not ever intending to use. But I think in the summer is when we're going to potentially need to rebuild, whether we're in the Premier League and need to rebuild to not be in this position next year, or whether we're in the Championship and need to rebuild to be fit there. There's going to be so much work that needs doing. And that's where I'm kind of interested to see what we do, I suppose, because we have got a lot of players that were sort of just around and weren't ever going to be used. We've not got much.
And we've had that for the last couple of seasons. We had Cresswell hanging around for too long. We had I think we had Vlad for hanging around for too long, Zuma hanging around for too long. We had lots of, and exactly, La Madrid I saw it today, he's listed in the under-21 squad on the website now, so that would be good to see. So that's why Emike's gone.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because he's going to take that spot on the left hand side, because Amike was playing sort of more left wing rather than left back. He could play left wing, but that's his preferred position. But he was playing more left wing, sometimes as a 10, which is what La Madrid plays. So that's the circle of life. There you got the squad. You've got Orford. So Orford's not going anywhere this weekend. You've got Ryan Batcham, Ezra Mayer's in the squad. That's interesting. Particularly the lack of centre halves. You thought he might fucking not be playing, but I suppose we don't got a game till Saturday. Ray Inoyebiada, he's a good player. Jeffrey Medine, he's one of my growers, not a shower. He is becoming a very good player. Lewis Orr for Preston Fearon. I think Preston needs a good meal at the moment. He's a bit weak for the moment. Clayton, and then you've got La Madrid, Josh Azala, Josh Landers. On the bench, you've got Gary Hooper, Dan Cummings. You've got Gabriel Kalista, good player. Keep an eye on him. He'll be a good one. Lewis Brown, Kenny Brown's son, and Tyrone Ekpata. So the bench ain't great, but it'll be interesting to see how La Madrid plays. They're playing Middlesbrough today. Then actually they play on Friday. They play Fulham away, and then next week they've got 2 games as well. They play Wednesday at Giro Construction Centre against Anderlecht in the Premier League Invitational Cup. Then on Friday they play Leicester City in the Premier League 2 Rush Green. That was meant to be the following Monday, but the reason being is on the Tuesday to play Tamworth in the National League semi-finals. So it's fucking busy at the moment.
It's busy.
So yes, and there's some good players to look at that. There's some good players there, and keep an eye on that. That kicks off in about 10 minutes.
Oh, not long.
Yeah.
Similar to what you were saying as well. I would love to see more of the youth at West Ham get a chance and be that squad depth in the absence of other players.
Well, they have to now, don't they?
No choice now. There they are. Peter saying when you concede the most goals, you go down. That is correct. But
Very true.
My hope is we can just turn something around the second half of the season. Just difficult because I think January represented a real easy win for us. If we could bring someone in that could be better than what we've got, it would have really helped, because it's just messy at the back, isn't it? I just feel like we're not communicating. Players are constantly getting caught off guard. We don't like to have such big centre backs but not be able to get ahead on the ball. So every cross into the box is such a danger. It's just simple things that are costing us so much. But I don't know what else you can do, because I'm sure in training and Nuno, I'm sure everyone's telling them get something on the ball. I just can't understand why it's such a challenge, I suppose. You see, Nick said here, goes Souček at centre-back, at least he would dominate.
Well, I mean, there was, again, it's Magassa as well. He played a lot of his games at Monaco at centre-half. Alvarez played centre-half for Mexico in the Gold Cup and stuff. So there is options there. But the thing is, for me, that no one's ever done them. No one's ever tried them. No one's ever put Souček and put him at centre half. He could be fucking good at centre half. Actually, he's. And I think actually in the last few games, I think his distribution's got a lot better. He seems to be passing a lot better and finding different balls as well. So, I mean, I think there are options there. Whether he goes them is another thing. We know he's going to go with Kilman and Mav. Unless we sign someone, but even if we do sign someone, they're going to need a couple of week or so to get up to speed with everything.
Exactly that. You wouldn't want to mess with Souček, would you? So I feel like he definitely bring strength in the
box.
box.
There could be that Craig Dawson-esque, sort of like blood on the line, throws his body on the line for anything. That could happen, with him, but I just never have tried it. I'm sure he would have played centre half for Czech Republic sometime.
Yeah, I feel like he's almost like a natural fit in terms of what he's able to do, that he might slot in at some point. Danny, taking a positive, glad that Wilson's staying. Biggest plus from the window. I completely agree. I was really worried when we were talking about getting rid of a proven Premier League goal scorer and basically relying on 2 newcomers to the team.
Well, that's the thing as well. That's the thing about Nuno. He does learn from his. That's a mistake. He that was put out into the ethernet that he was going to go to Celtic or wherever, and then everyone went no, and he went okay, fair enough, we won't do it, because he could have done it and he could have, but he'd only probably saved about $6,000 a week anyway, because they only pay him when he gets off.
What are your thoughts on goalkeepers? So Alan's saying we need Fab in goal. Areola's made some decent saves lately. I'm not saying he's faultless. But obviously, a lot of talk about our goalkeeper situation.
Yeah,
Do you
they've been fucking about with the goalkeepers, like the whole Kinski thing and Mads and stuff like that. I mean, Fab's injured. Fab's still got his back injury, so you ain't going no, he ain't playing at all at the moment. From a goalkeeper's perspective, we've got three really. I've got two good goalkeepers, a third as well, and a fourth in the pathway. So you got Finn and Mason Terry. Jimmy Walker's now the under-21 goalkeeper. So he did say to me the other day when we were talking about goal, we was having a beer, and he did say, I said, Tom Wooster as well, good goalkeeper, is playing tonight. You've got Mason Terry out on loan at Braintree. Below that, you got Laurie Owusu, England under-18 goalkeeper. And he said, if I don't get Finn Herrick into the first team at West Ham, I'd have failed. He's a very good modern day goalkeeper. I think he's very good distribution. When you look at someone like Areola has the worst distribution of a goalkeeper in the Premier League, something like 40% pass completion rate. Finn, when you watch Finn play, you probably see him not today because you maybe see him on Friday. Maybe he does this really unusual thing where most goalkeepers, when you pass it back to him, they hoof it long, always hoof it. So what he does, he drills it through the middle to like the centre midfielder on the floor, and no one cuts it out. It's really, really strange how he does it. But keep an eye on Finn. I think he's one for the future. He's a nice boy as well, West Ham boy as well. So it'd be good to see. But I think for me, Areola's all right. I don't know why we're all this fucking about with it's like you got to think. Really, in all honesty, that was the least important position to look at this transfer window, and we've wasted a lot of column inches on Kinski, on when you spoke to Tim talking about Bento and all that stuff, and it's like, well, I'd rather just fucking get someone in, get a centre half in rather than piss about with who's between. Fabianski's a good number 3. Mad's had a good game against QPR. He'll play and go against Burton Albion next week. Yeah, I think it's it's just.
And Areola, you know what you're going to get from him. Like, I know he's not the world's best goalkeeper, but equally you can bring a keeper in like Mads that you think might be decent, and they can have an absolute howler of a beginning, and that's the end of it, basically. And whether he'll work his way ever back into the team, and whether it was just really unlucky that beginning that he had, or whether that is his level as a keeper, we might never even get to see it. But it's a massive risk bringing in a new keeper. And I think when it's predictable enough with Areola and he's all right enough, and like you said, Fabianski uninjured is a decent backup as well. I just don't think it's where we needed to focus our efforts this window. We've got enough to worry about, haven't we? Wonder about Kilman as well as the useless German.
Hindsight is a lovely thing. I reckon everyone slated Craig Dawson signing, and then look what happened to him, innit?
So many of my friends are Watford fans, and when we signed him, they were basically thanking West Ham for taking him on, and he was incredible. But I think this is the other thing to remember as fans: we always want the big names, the proven ones, the ones getting game time week in, week out. But sometimes, if someone's got the right characteristics, and that luck happens, that just means that they fit in. Like Lingard, we were looking at him going, I don't think this is a good player for us, and he hit the ground running, did something special. Dawson, everyone was laughing at us for signing him, and now I do anything to have him back in our back line. So you just don't know, do you, until you bring someone in. We have
it's
3
a gamble.
minutes.
I mean, I was listening to an art. What was I listening to? Oh, it was a podcast or something like that, and they were talking about football being a gamble. Actually, no, I tell you, it was Nick. I was watching Nick and talking with Nigel in Canning Town Lane yesterday, and and when you bring in players, every player is a gamble. Every player is a gamble. We've spent £45 million or whatever, or a deal sheet has been submitted for Alexis Disasi, apparently. We've 2 minutes to go. With 2 minutes to go. Fucking hell. But it's true. I mean, every move is a gamble, and it's like, you could spend 40 odd million on Haller, or you could spend 3 million on Craig Dawson. And, you think the more you spend, the more chance you are that they're going to make it. But that hasn't been the case with West Ham signings over the while. So, you see, as I said, club have confirmed the Sarr to return it, and that's why we can get him. Can we recall to Alvarez? No, we can't. There's no recall clause on the loan deal. The only way we could have done it is if Fenerbahce had agreed for us to terminate the deal early, a bit like we did with James Ward-Prowse and Nottingham Forest when Potter came in. Now, Fenerbahce have just signed N'Golo Kante, or they're going to be signing N'Golo Kante, which you would assume is in his position. But Alvarez, I think, got injured recently, and there's actually slight concerns about him making the World Cup now. Yes, that's why, again, we shouldn't really worry about that.
Gazza wants a player that can do the job, plays for the badge, don't care about big names. That's what we need at the moment, in my opinion, is just people that are going to put a right shift in now to the end of the season. Just give everything on the pitch, because I think that's the only thing that's going to help us right now, keeping up that intensity and fighting for every single ball. Deal sheet.
The deal sheet is for Igor. It's not for ฎisaßi. So there we go. I'm joking.
I was going to say,
I'm joking.
Don't do this. Don't do this to me.
Right, my battery's going to fall. My phone's going to run out, so I'm going to switch this off, and I'll leave you to it. I'm going to switch.
Catch up soon.
I'll leave you. Laters.
Lions. So, how is everyone feeling? If you haven't already, drop your thoughts. It is now 7 p.m. So, what are we saying? What is the latest? Everyone update me, because I haven't got it up on my screen at the moment in terms of what is happening. We have got the end of the window is here. Have deal sheets been submitted? Just getting up BBC Sport as well, so we can get everything all on one screen. So yeah, thoughts overall. I feel sad, says Troj. Do you know what? I feel quite sad about this as well. I think when the window opened, all I wanted was for us to bring in a centre-back mainly, so that we could actually fix something here. And it feels absolutely wild to me that we now look at the end of the transfer window and we haven't necessarily finished that. If we've got deal sheet in, then it looks as though we are all good. Apparently, according to BBC Sport, no Premier League signings yet made on deadline day. So, yeah, 0 by 7 p.m. How are we all feeling, though? Because I think a point comes where we're going to have to start looking at the second half of the season with who we've got and what we've got. I think it's difficult. I'm going to do one more run through as well, of course, of the players that we brought in and out. So in Pablo and Tati, just taking a little look at the window. Obviously, I said centre-back was what I wanted to fix first, and I know that most of us were in the same boat with that. We made some business nice and early with Pablo and Tati, and it got our hopes up a little bit, didn't it? In that wasn't our priority, but we thought, okay, good, like 2 decent enough signings for the level that we're currently looking at, who could make a difference. We know that they run, and that's what we needed in those positions. Now we move on to the whole defence, fixing the defence. Traore, I think he's going to be a decent option off the bench. I'd be interested to see how we could use him alongside Bowen. I know we swapped him for Bowen against Chelsea, but I think he could be an interesting one, say if we played him on the right and push Bowen a little bit more central, because for me, Bowen's a player that doesn't really tire. He can play the full 90, and he is one that can also always nick a goal. And we know that he can play okay centrally, but obviously his key position is the right wing, and I don't think we mess with that. So in my opinion, Traore will be a good sub off the bench. Real Madrid starting for the under-21s tonight, so that's great to see. When we look at who we've said goodbye to, let's have a little look. We have got a lot of players here that have left. So running through those, we've got Paqueta. I wouldn't say we've missed him since he's not been playing for us. And I think that says a lot for a player of that kind of price and a player that we once valued so much. So Paqueta is gone. Ward-Prowse could have brought a little bit of squad depth, but we know that Nuno was never going to play him. Julio, loan-ended. Rodriguez, too slow for the Premier League, realistically. We look at quite a few different players that we weren't really going to use, were we? If we actually look at this realistically, got Andy Irving, still the weirdest signing ever. We never announced him, but we did announce his departure. One day he's going to make a great podcast episode. George Earthy, I'm gutted for him that he got injured at the start of the season, and then those injuries kept plaguing him, because I think this could have been a really important signing season for him. We look at Caelan Casey, wasn't playing on loan at Swansea, so he's now gone off to Leyton Orient. Guilherme, I spoke with Tim Vickery about this one. I'm glad we got the money that we did for him. I'd have preferred to have sent him out on a decent loan where he'd get game time, because I do think he was talented. The fact that when he did play, you couldn't tell that he hadn't really played in the Premier League much. But again, this is the sign of a failed project, that we weren't heading in one direction in terms of what we were trying to do as a club. We brought him in as a prospect for the future, one that we could bring up to what we needed in terms of the standard and how he would play. And we kind of just pulled the plug on it, made a loss, and never used him, essentially. Callum Marshall, again, he wasn't really going to get much game time for us. I think he's already scored for Bochum, who are in the German second division. I'd like to think he'll come good, but I don't think he's necessarily what we need right now. Fulkrug, obviously, clearly wanted to leave. Another signing that was a Stuyton one, and it just did not work out. So we're looking at a lot of players here who just, it hasn't worked. Can see a lot of frustration in the comments, and I can certainly join you in that, because for me, like I said, the one thing we needed to fix was defence, and we've done more to our attack. Lovely, our attack looks decent enough at the moment, but it's criminal to not have addressed the centre-back situation to an extent where we're comfortable with it and think that this is going to make things look easier. Hopefully this Real Madrid looks amazing tonight and I'll feel better. I really hope he does. I think he's a decent, talented player. Just think he's not obviously of the level where he'd step into the first team at the moment. Feel resigned. Patry with some monster faces. Window closed, and West Ham United Premiership career closed. BS out. 𝙏𝙍𝘼𝘼𝙍𝙍 could still be announced. So this is one thing. If the deal sheet has been put in, then we can be waiting on the signing of him. So I'm just keeping a little eye to see if anything has actually been officially announced. But it sounds as though it went right down to the wire. The problem we had was we were in a terrible negotiating situation, because quite simply, 𝙏𝙍𝘼𝘼𝙍𝙍 had options from AC Milan and teams like that at times in the window. He's come over to do the medical, so obviously a deal could be made by the end of it. But unfortunately, when you're in a position where your key centre-back has a red card and is going to be out for a few games, your other two are not good enough, really, for Premier League standards, and you've got the worst defence in the entire Premier League and your relegation contenders. Lo and behold, obviously, he is putting up a decent negotiation in terms of what he wants, what his terms are, what his prices are, what those bonuses might be. Essentially hovering his pen over the paper but not putting it on there until he got what he wanted. But we knew that was always going to be the situation. West Ham are not an attractive prospect for new signings at the moment. John saying that he feels 𝙏𝙍𝘼𝘼𝑍𝙍𝑖 is holding us to ransom. It's basically what it is, but I think that is what happens a lot of the time in the Premier League. It is like a game of chess, but unfortunately we've shown our hand. We've made things very difficult for ourselves, and you leave it to the last minute when you can't even play hardball and say there's other options out there. And there's only so much that you can actually do. Window is a disaster. Only good news is that Calvert-Lewin of Leeds is possibly out of long-term injury. Leeds haven't had time to get a replacement. Traoré is an absolute joke. Now, a couple of things on this. I think our future in the Premier League is going to depend on a couple of things. First of all, if we can improve our form with the players that we now have. And secondly, if we can get a bit lucky that the teams around us don't pick up form. So we need them to make a few mistakes. Injuries like Calvert-Lewin could be pretty impactful as well. People complaining about Traoré. Looks like he'll be really good at opening pickle jars. He's also quite good at launching Chelsea players by the looks of things. But I think he is going to be... He's exactly what we thought. He has pace, and he has pace off the bench. He's never going to be in our starting 11. He gives us something different. Whether or not that different is a good thing is yet to be seen, because there is so much yet to be sort of discovered about how we'll use him. Whether we use him like we did against Chelsea, swapping him straight out for Bowen, which surprised me because, like I said, Bowen's good until the end of the game, so there's not really any urgency to ever do that. Or we use him in a way where perhaps we move Bowen a bit more central and keep him on at the same time, which was what I was imagining us doing. Damien has had enough of this. Completely understand. It is disappointing. 𝙏𝙍𝘼𝘼𝑍𝙍𝑖 deal sorted or what? So apparently the deal sheet has been submitted. Nothing official yet. So we're going to have to hang in there and keep waiting. What is everyone saying? 8 reasonable bench players. Traore should have retired and become a bouncer. I mean, to be fair, you wouldn't mess with him, would you? Yeah, so a lot of questions here about 𝙿𝙍𝘼𝙉. Obviously, great player, very talented youngster that had a very good future. La Madrid, there's now quite a lot of pressure on him doing well and slotting straight in when you look at someone that was in great form. So we'll have to see what we can do there. When does Premiership quality count when you have Kilman? The mad thing is, I had such high hopes for Kilman. I don't know about everyone else, but I thought, okay, this is someone that we've seen what they can do in the Premier League. He's calm, collected, communicates well, and has these leadership qualities. But when you look at what's happened since he's been at West Ham, I'm just a bit baffled as to how that was everyone's take on what he would bring to a side, I suppose, because it just feels like a shambles and a panic, doesn't it, at the moment? A whole back line as well, the whole defence. But simple things that I just can't understand is we're either not reading the ball or we're not even watching the ball. We're watching other players or we're marking space but letting a player go. And simple things like giving them a metre of space to get a free header is wild. And the fact that we do have the height but we can't stop crosses into the box leading to goals is absolutely mad. Ken here raising a very good point. I do often think we're our own worst enemy. People need to stop saying Kilman's crap because we'll never get rid of him. So what we need to do is hype Kilman up so much that in summer he is sold for about 100 mil. I think it's hard as well. When a player has a bad start at a team, it's an uphill battle. When fans are frustrated, it gets even harder. And if anything, I think to be a good centre-back, you need that confidence. And at the moment, he doesn't have any of that. So it's, for me, it's over. It's over in terms of us being able to do well with Kilman in the side. Coulda, woulda, shoulda is the West Ham motto. It is true. We say it basically every window. We'd love to do more than we currently do. Nothing short of disgusting. We needed a centre-back before Todibo's suspension. Where's the Paqueta replacement? So let us know your thoughts in the comments. I want to know, do you think we should have replaced Paqueta? Because for me, that isn't our priority. Again, centre-back was what we needed. And agreed, we needed a centre-back at the start of the window to get time with them, to give us the opportunity to work with them and actually have the most game time where we're not conceding goals, ideally. Regardless of Todibo's suspension or not, it's kind of by the wayside. Although that's going to make our life a lot harder in the next few weeks, we needed a centre-back and we needed to fix our defence. In terms of Paqueta's replacement, I definitely wouldn't have been against us bringing a cheaper alternative in, but I don't think we should have spent a massive chunk of money on a Paqueta replacement. For a few reasons. We always know that January is a really hard time to bring players in, isn't it? Because realistically, any player that's available in January is out of favour, overpriced, or just simply not performing, or might have an attitude issue, or whatever reason that the club and the player want to leave where they are. So you're picking up someone that you know is not performing or hasn't been performing where they are. And that in itself brings a massive risk. And on top of that, you end up paying over the odds for any decent player that's in decent form to bring them away from their club. We're looking at, obviously, we were linked with players from Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough are trying to fight to get into the Premier League. The players don't want to leave a side that's in contention for promotion into the Premier League to go to a side that might end up in the Championship next season. So there's a lot of challenges when it comes to trying to bring in talented players in January, and even more so when you're in the situation that West Ham are, which is we are struggling massively. We are not an attractive prospect for any new signings because, number one, we need them to hit the ground running and the pressure is on them immediately and there's so much expectation. But also there is no, like, you look on, if I'm a player and I'm thinking of signing for West Ham, I have a little look at the comments on social media. We're all fuming. Everyone's frustrated. Everyone's complaining about a lack of direction. All of these things are naturally going to concern someone. It's like if you were going to go for a job and you look online and every review is basically saying it's an absolute nightmare. Naturally, you're going to be a bit like, oh, I either want more money or I'm not fussed. So it is an uphill battle signing players regardless in January. But when you've got things like European football, you've got that extra appeal. And at the moment, we've got the unappeal of relegation. What else is everyone saying? Strand Larsen went to Palace for 48 mil. A lot of money. That is a lot of money for Strand Larsen. But again, I think that's the approach where you do just throw money at someone that you want to help you make a difference. Because for many teams, ourselves included, this is our last shot at an easy fix of bringing players in that are better and not just relying on the resources that you've got. That's one approach. We've taken the other, where you simply don't buy anyone to fix it. What is everyone saying? Don't understand the hate for Traoré. He's not costing us much. He's an option that can play on either wing. I also love how he's in 𝙏𝙍𝘼𝙉𝙀 flying. I hate that guy. 𝙏𝙍𝘼𝙉 winds a lot of people up, doesn't he? I think, if I'm honest, a lot of fans' issue with Traoré is that we're frustrated. He's 2 million, right? And his wages aren't going to be a fortune. He brings us something off the bench. It's kind of neither here nor there. It's just a deal on the side. I think if we'd have had a great window, we'd have all quite enjoyed seeing what Traoré could do, sprinting down that wing for 5-10 minutes at the end of a game. And I'm still hopeful that it can give us something, because as much as he might not be clinical, might not have the end product, we've seen that not having end product doesn't really mean much, because Somerville didn't have end product and then he found it. So it's all about how you can use a player and give them the confidence and the tools they need on that pitch to perform. So we'll see what happens. I'm not expecting him to set our world alight, but if you're defending against Traoré, tell me that your entire mindset is not on how am I going to beat him back here for pace when he gets the ball. So just like that, you have taken one player out of attacking, which is probably a positive thing for us, I suppose. What else have we got? Baby oil sales up in London. We need to get relegated to get the owners out. We were chatting about this a little bit earlier. My worry is that it does the opposite of getting the owners out. If we go down, the club basically halves in value, and the owners would be insane to not hang in there and try and get us promoted. So my worry is it would kind of do the opposite, because they're not going to take a humongous loss. They will try and get us back into the Premier League, and we will see the same lack of direction plague us, because if we can't do a rebuild to an extent under a new head coach and find a way that we can get back towards European football spaces, going into the Championship's a whole new ballgame, because your squad gets ripped apart. You've got one season with that Premier League money to sort of make a difference, but make the right decisions. Are we an attractive prospect? I would argue that if we go down and look embarrassing towards the end of the season, there'll be other sides that the players in the Championship that want to get promoted would be more interested in. So my fear, Tony, is that we get relegated and it does the opposite of getting the owners out. And instead, it means that the owners hang in there to try and get us back in the Premier League and get their money recovered. So that does worry me. Hoping someone would come in for Nuno. What are we? Are we Nuno in or Nuno out? Let me know in the comments section. I know there's a lot of question marks over this at the moment. My opinion is we've backed him and we're going to have to stick with him at this moment in time, because we just don't have time for another attempted rebuild. We've got this Frankenstein squad with a lot of problems. Defensively, we're not good enough. But attacking-wise, we saw in the first half of that Chelsea game, we are starting to link up better in attack. But you just can't be conceding 3 goals every game and expect to get anything from them. So can Nuno turn it around? I don't know. I genuinely don't know, because I think our defence is such a problem for us right now. But there is a hope that he can. Fear and discord for the under-21s. Love it. Absolutely massive. Get Lingard and Sterling. So you look at the free agent market, there are options there. We know that Lingard did well for us before. Obviously, he wouldn't cost much. Goodness knows what his fitness is like at the moment. Obviously, he's not played in a very long time now. He actually spoke in an interview, didn't he, not long ago, about how he took poor advice from what I assume was his agent to turn West Ham's deal down and not return to us. So I wonder whether he could be tempted. But again, do we need someone in that position desperately? Maybe as backup. Do we need a player that might not have the fitness? That worries me massively. We could have had Cresswell for 39 mil. Wasn't he worth the money? I think the challenge is, did Cresswell truly want to come to us? Because from what I've heard, it was a real question mark over whether he wanted West Ham at all. He's in a position to be able to perform a lot better, fight for promotion, and coming to West Ham is obviously a big risk for him. So I don't know whether we could have thrown money at him and got that deal over the line. Cresswell was one that I would have loved to have seen at West Ham. Everything that he would have brought would have been a massive upgrade on what we have, and I'd been interested to see what that looked like. But I don't know whether it was one where we could have thrown money at him and got it over the line, or whether the player just didn't want it. As fans, I know we always go, what if we threw more money, and like surely they want to come to us, but we don't look good as a potential place to work right now. Fans are angry, players not good enough, results are terrible, head coach is being questioned, everyone hates the ownership, there's people showing red cards, there's fans that are angry. Like, all of these things kind of create the perfect storm, I think, where we look even less attractive. And it's valid frustrations, of course. Like, we all pay for our season tickets and we see the same things week in, week out, and we feel let down as fans because we put everything into West Ham, right? We love the club so much, and all we want is to just have the right money invested in the right places. And it doesn't feel like you're asking too much. But yeah, I don't know whether Cresswell would have wanted to have come to us, but if we could have got him, I think he'd have been brilliant. Lawrence is glad that Paqueta's gone. If you haven't already, put your thoughts down below in the comments section on the transfer window. And of course, give the video a little like because it's Sports Channel. Make sure you've subscribed. Glad Paqueta's gone. If his heart isn't at the club and he doesn't want to give 100%, then there's the door. Problem is, no one will come to this club while it is in the relegation battle. And yeah, I agree. I think less so this window, but always I've thought if a player's heart isn't in it, then they can go, because we want players that are going to fight. And right now we're in a relegation battle, so we need every single person to fight. When we look at new potential signings, obviously 𝙏𝙍𝘼𝙉𝙎 didn't necessarily want to come to us today, but I think we're in a position where if someone's willing to come to us and obviously wants to prove themselves as a good Premier League player, then I'm okay with that. But realistically, we want players that are going to have the fight, because we need that. We need the ability to pick ourselves up when times are hard. We need the ambition to do better, to fix things that are going wrong. And I think Paqueta's time had come to an end, hadn't it? There've been so many ups and downs, and you look at the time he was worth 80 million, and we were saying, I don't even want him to go to City for 80 million, because I would prefer to have him at West Ham for one more season. And I remember thinking, when all the FA allegations came out, the silver lining is, even if we lose him, so we don't get that 80 million for him, we've got one more season under him. And I thought at the time that could have such an impact on the future of where we were heading as a club. And then you look at the form that's just completely nosedived. And yeah, I think it was game over really for Paqueta, and his heart wasn't in it. But the biggest thing for me is right now we need players that graft, and we need the least pressure possible on our struggling defence. Paqueta's the kind of player that when it works, it's so exciting, because he dances on the ball and he's got all that flair, but he loses the ball a lot. And that was fine when we were doing okay, or where we had players behind him that could clear up that mess. But when he's losing the ball on the edge of the box and that results in a goal, suddenly it's not quite so funny. Or when he's down on the floor and he's staying down, and we need players that are going to get up and chase that ball down, it's just not as enjoyable to watch either. So yes, that is that. La Madrid scored. What a debut. 2-0 to the under-21s. Yeah, I mean, there is no one to blame other than the board for the lack of investment and lack of direction with that investment. It's not just this window that's led us to here. It's a number of decisions that have been a slippery slope of not investing in the right places. It's not even that we've not invested enough money. It's that we've invested big chunks of money in places that haven't made sense. When you look at some of I did a video on it about a year ago, the number of strikers that we've signed for decent money and we have sold them for pennies in comparison. We've lost so much money. Then you look at players like Guilherme, we spend a lot of money on him with a project where we're saying that we want to use him as one for the future, where we're going to work to really improve him. And the goal of that, to get a really good player that's in your midfield, or to sell him on for a profit. Clubs like City do this all the time. They'll bring someone through the ranks, they'll improve them, and then they'll sell them for a profit. But we never really worked on improving him, never gave him any game time, sold him for a loss. We recovered a decent amount somehow, but we sold him for a loss. And you can't have this many losses left, right, and centre and expect to be able to perform well, because in these windows where we've brought in the wrong players or had the wrong direction or the wrong strategy, you haven't just lost the money that you've lost. You've lost the opportunity to bring in someone better. So you might have brought in a striker that gets no goals. You haven't just lost the 20 mil that you've got in the difference between what you bought and sold them for. You don't have a good striker for that next 6 months or 12 months. Same with midfield. Like you've brought in players where it means you've not got a functioning squad. You've not got the squad depth that you need. So it's so much more than just the losses that we've made. And yeah, there's only one place that the responsibility lies for that. Paqueta should have been replaced. We let Earthy leave on loan. Our only other creative midfielder. The board knew Paqueta was leaving before the window opened. Yes. So, I mean, I'm gutted for him because I think his injuries played a massive part in him not getting the opportunities for Earthy. I think it could have been a really good season for him. I think game time will help. And yeah, Paqueta, obviously, we've all got mixed opinions, I suppose, on whether or not we should have brought in a like-for-like replacement of Paqueta or maybe focus that money elsewhere. Lovely goal from La Madrid. People are crying. I'm getting so much stick from my Borough mate who'll get promoted. New manager is doing good. Borough are doing really well. Tony failed. We won't pay what he wants. You watch this collapse. So that deal sheet is in for 𝙏𝙍𝘼𝘼𝘍. Let me know if anyone's heard any further updates. But at the moment, it looks as though it's not yet over the line. Get Lingard in. Can we come straight back to the Premier League? The level of Championship clubs is not that easy. It's incredibly hard to get back from the Championship into the Premier League. There's no guarantees at all. Over the years, I've heard a lot of people, even just like near where I sit in the stadium, saying, we'll go down for a season, win some more games, it'd be really nice, come back up, then we'd be ready. I really don't think it works like that. The Championship is so competitive. It's so much more physical. There are so many more games. And it relies on you getting the recruitment bang on. Like the second you move down into the Championship, you've got to make the most of that Premier League money. You've got one season and it's all or nothing. Otherwise, you can just drop into the depths of nothingness in the Championship. And we've seen it happen with so many other clubs. You can even get relegated again. So you've got to be so careful with dropping down into the Championship. And I think it'd be a massive challenge because it would rely on us having the exact right structure and right direction in terms of who we bring in to perform in the Championship. And as we can see, we're not doing very well at that in the Premier League. I love that the window's closed and we're like, I know I was joking about those signings a couple of weeks ago, but what if we did bring them in? Lingard and Sterling both got something to prove for new contracts next season for 6 months, could do us a job. I don't think we've got anything to lose right now. In terms of squad depth, we're struggling. In terms of players that want to prove themselves, there are many out there that are free agents. Do they have the fitness? Do they have the ability? I don't know. But are they going to be cheap? And right now, do we have money that we can spend? Yes. So to be honest, I'll take anything right now. Bet it was a meal deal that they put on the deal sheet. What kind of sandwich did they choose, though? That is the big question. Traoré, same player as Antonio. I don't know. I think Traoré runs down the pitch. Yeah, they're both absolute units. Antonio did a good job of holding the ball up. And as much as we take the mickey out of Antonio, it's hard to deny that he did a job at West Ham. He did a job at West Ham that was pretty impossible because we kept trying to bring in other strikers and we'd always go back to him. He did a decent job despite us laughing at how unclinical he was of holding the ball up and making things happen when we needed it, which did make a difference at times when we needed it. The owners will only go if they get profit from the deal, even though they've lost our soul and identity. It's what I was talking about. I'm not sure the board would sell up if we went down into the Championship because they'd make a massive loss. So I don't think getting relegated would help us in any way because we'd still have many of the same challenges. Team in the Championship will be a mixture of youngsters or free old-timers and some loans. It definitely would be comprised of some of those. Johnny's saying, is anyone else surprised that these owners haven't even tried? I think this is what I'm genuinely most shocked about. Obviously, there's always been so many questions over the board and their investments and what the priorities are, and naturally we haven't agreed with what they've done a lot of the time lately. But I am shocked that we haven't just thrown everything in to stay in the Premier League, because from a financial perspective, they've got everything to fight for here as well, because the club's going to half in value. So much money will be lost by going into the Championship. So spending however many million on some better players, like this was our opportunity to make things a little bit easier for ourselves for the rest of the season and hopefully stay up. So I can't lie, I am shocked that we knew our defence was our issue and we haven't fixed our defence. If anything, we've let Julio go. So it is a bit baffling. Love Nuno, definitely stick until June. Nuno out and promote Paco. Now, I know that I'd love to know what Paco could do, because I know that the reason we all want Paco is because we're like, he attacks. I would like to think that Nuno can't keep trying to go defensive much longer, especially if he's got the same players, and think that it's a good idea, because it's just a killer, isn't it? We can't defend, so going defensive does not work. Never got the idea we shouldn't have loaned out Earthy. He isn't Premier League ready, so it is right to loan him out. This is a big question. Even if we survive with this squad, what next season? We've been riding our luck for years now. This is a huge question, and I wonder whether this could be a wake-up call that means we employ the right people to make decisions and trust them. But we've seen it be attempted with Stuyton. We've seen it be attempted many, many times now. But we don't bring in the right person, and then we don't give them the time to actually follow that plan through. And with that, we've ended up chopping and changing between different ideas and different players, and it's just ended up in a mess by trusting the wrong people, investing in the wrong players. But if we survive and we stay in the Premier League next season, the rebuild that we need to do is humongous. We will have more appeal than we have right now, because we'll be a Premier League side, and we would be bringing players in with the idea of, we want you to be a part of our transformation. But we would need to do so much in the summer for us to be a side that can compete better. The defence needs a rebuild, obviously, because the defence, in my opinion, is the biggest issue. Just, we can't keep conceding like this. It's insane. And yeah, we've been riding our luck for years. I remember, so I was out in Prague, Conference League final, and just chatting to loads of fans, and the amount of people that, despite the fact that we were there for the final, even after we'd won, everyone was going, we need to fix things though behind the scenes, because this isn't heading in the right direction. We need a rebuild to actually get on that positive trajectory and start improving things. Because when we got to the Conference League final, it was so we win in Europe, but we're looking at a squad that we basically had a starting 11, very little squad depth, you could argue, that would make a difference. And it almost felt like we'd overperformed massively. And suddenly it feels like reality's caught up, and now we're in this situation. So huge rebuild in summer. Regardless, if we go down, we're going to need to rebuild for that. If we stay up, we're going to need to rebuild to stay in the Premier League again. If we got relegated, they would have to invest to get back up into the Premier League, as half players like Bowen would leave on 50% wages. There would be such a rebuild. Quite a few people saying they would get in Lingard and Sterling. How are we feeling about bringing in a couple of free agents? And if so, who would you bring in? And if you haven't already, just your little reminder to please like and subscribe. We've got so much content going out on all of our channels at the moment, so make sure you keep an eye out there. We've got Facebook, where we have got live shorts, lives, all sorts going on. We've got TikTok, we've got X, where we post loads, and of course YouTube for the really long form stuff. So check out all of our channels. People saying that their dog is blind and could still do a better job than Kilman. It is just disappointing, isn't it, at the moment, how badly we're doing in defence. If we stay, we need a massive rebuild, definitely. Investment, Sullivan has taken out 140 million overdraft credit facility and has borrowed 200 million from loan company to try to buy Everton, and yet no money for transfers and in debt. It's a very difficult one with the finances behind football teams. When you actually look, so many clubs do borrow a lot of money. It's all borrowed from a different business or credit. So it's really hard to say whether or not we do things too differently in terms of where we get the money from with the overdraft credit facilities, loans from other businesses. But I think a massive problem we've had is the lack of direction. Like I said, when you look at what we've actually invested money-wise, if we'd invested that in the right places, I don't think we'd be in such a dire state at all. We've spent so much money on 𝙏𝙍𝘼𝙉𝙀, 𝘿𝙼𝙔, 𝙠𝙀𝙑, like all these players that just haven't hit the ground running. Strikers in particular has been our biggest problem. But again, it's come from that lack of direction where we say we need a striker, we pay a load of money for a striker. They're not the right fit. They're a striker that needs service and we don't offer service. So things like that have really, really cost us. It has been getting very difficult. Alan saying we need to mentally prepare ourselves for relegation. I feel like I'm resigned to the fact that it's very likely now. I'm still trying to keep that positivity in my head because otherwise it just kills me a little bit. If we go down, like I'm expecting it, I get that and it's fine. But yeah, I think the likelihood is right now, unless we can turn things around and there's no new tools really in terms of defence and stopping those goals leaking, it's going to be a challenge. How do you rebuild with no money unless you sell? We've already taken loans against future income. We seem to be maxed out on credit. Only assets are players. Under this board, there's no rebuild. There's always ways that clubs get money. So a lot of the money that clubs spend is based on loans and borrowing from the future because obviously the value of your squad is massive. Like we've got a lot of money sitting there. When you look at the financial fair play side of stuff, you're limited to how much you can spend set over 3 years. We've made a profit, so I'm just going to run you through one more time for anyone that hasn't seen. Outgoing players wise, just take a look at who we've got rid of here. That's a lot of money saved on wages, so that's your regular fees, and then you've got like 35.8 mil for Paqueta. We've got 17.4 for 𝙿𝙑𝘼𝙔. We have made, ignoring the Rodriguez undisclosed fee, 54.5 million. And then when we take a little look at who's come in, we've spent 48. So I don't know the payment structures of when that money comes in exactly, but we have made money there and money will have to be spent realistically. So many clubs do it by borrowing in different ways. When you look at the ways in which it's borrowed, it looks incredibly unflattering. But I did a little look about 6 months ago at different clubs, and even City, who you'd probably say are quite organised with their spending, they borrow left, right and centre from everyone, from parent businesses and loans and overdrafts. So it's not unheard of in the ways that we're getting credit to fund transfers. I think what is unheard of is how unsuccessful so much of the investment that we have is. Won't go on. Axel Disasi, come on. At the moment, I believe the deal sheet's in, unless anyone's heard differently. I'd take him because I think we need something different at centre-back. Am I disappointed that it's gone past 7 p.m. and it's not been announced? 100%. So disappointed and shocked. There have been many times I've been shocked at West Ham, but this time I'm really shocked because it was a non-negotiable that we had to fix centre-back. Like, we are conceding the most goals in the league, got the worst defence, and the likelihood is we're going to go down unless we can turn something around massively, and defending is a huge part of that. Premier League players do not want to come to teams deep in relegation. It's been like that for several years. Of course, none of them want to be a part of a relegation battle, but it does come down to what you can do to convince them and get it over the line. And we haven't managed to do that, obviously, this window. I think there's a few parts to that. There's the money that you offer them, the bonuses that you offer them, the overall picture, which at the moment it does look grim at West Ham, but the reassurances of game time that you can give them and how they're going to play a part in basically playing a massive part in you staying in the Premier League. But to do that, I think you need to go in early in the window. I think you need to go after specific players and put everything into them, build their confidence that you are a major part of their project. And I'm just not sure we did that. Like, I think we've gone for a scattergun approach, which has made no potential signings feel special. And then as the window's gone on and we've got to deadline day, we're in a terrible position for negotiating. The key position that we needed filling, we have Todibo out with a red card. We're desperate for a centre-back. There's no other options on the table. Basically, the whole day, it's been disaster or nothing. So lo and behold, we find ourselves in a horrible situation. Sterling's already stated his wages would be cut down to a third of what he earned at Chelsea. Lingard is currently unemployed like Sterling, so he would have to negotiate a lesser salary. Oh, Daz, what a question. Do you think we get out of this mess? Everything stats-wise, everything logic-wise, is saying we have no right to get out of this mess. When I look at the last few games, I've seen an attack side of West Ham that has the ability to get out of this mess. And the way we played in that first half against Chelsea had me thinking, we can do this. We can climb away from this. We've not really got very lucky with the teams around us dropping points. They all seem to, every time we get 3 points, they get 3 points as well. So we don't seem to climb out of the relegation zone. And I know I'm always in the more positive bunch of supporters. I really hope we can get out of this mess. And I think the thing that's killing me is it's so simple. The things that we need to do to get out of this mess: get your head on the end of the ball, win the first and second ball, be urgent, like have that urgency to get there. What we did so well in the first half against Chelsea was we moved off the ball. We wanted the ball constantly. We took our chances. We've started shooting from outside the box. We're not just passing it around and hoping for a miracle to get right in front of goal. Take the chances. But the simple things are costing us, like balls into the box. Get your head on it and get it gone. Every time there's a corner, a ball into the box, someone runs into the box, we give away a penalty. These are simple things that at Premier League standard you shouldn't be doing. And if we can unlock whatever it is that is the problem with that, just to do the basics, I think we could. Because if we can cut it down to conceding 1 goal a game, I think at the moment our attack is good enough to pick up some points. So I'm going to say for now, I've got zero right to think that we're going to stay in the Premier League. But I still have hope that if we get a little bit lucky with teams around us not performing as well, and we can just make a few things happen and keep that attack firing, that we could get out of this. So I'm not giving up hope yet. We've got so many games. It's never over in football. Like we've got so many games still. I think in another 10 games, we're going to have a very secure answer as to whether or not we'll be able to get out of it. But we picked up 6 points in 2 games. And we nearly managed to get something out of that Chelsea game again, as much as it killed all of our souls watching what happened. So if we can get another 6 points from another 2 games, we're in a very different position. And that's why I'm not giving up hope that it's not all over yet. But I know I'm probably in the minority, and I know that this transfer window has been so disappointing, especially given we all wanted the defence fixed and we've not done it. What else are we saying, everyone? I'm going to head off in a minute. How many of our current players do you feel are not good enough or not giving 100% each game now? I think it's really difficult, to be honest. And it changes game by game. Bowen had a patch where he wasn't doing well, and people were obviously questioning, is he a good captain? Because he wasn't pulling Paqueta away. He was getting himself a card and doing the things that you would want a typical mouthy leader to do. And then he plays incredibly, and I think he's a real asset to the team. So I can't really answer in terms of how many players I don't think are good enough. I can tell you, though, I think Wan-Bissaka is doing a good job. I think when we look wing-wise, we're doing okay. I think Diouf struggles defensively, but if we want to go more attacking, he's a great option. Scholes has now found his feet and is a decent option as well there. It's the centre-backs. Like, that's the only way I can put it. I feel like we fixed the midfield. I feel like the 2 strikers up top is working. Somerville's found his form. Bowen does well on the wing always. Left back, right back, whatever you want to call them, wing backs, doing really well. But Mavropanos, I don't think is good enough. I think he's the better of some terrible options. So Todibo would be my starting centre-back without question. But I would have wanted a new centre-back in to replace Mavropanos, because as much as he's at better lately, he still makes mistakes. He makes so many mistakes. So I don't think Mavropanos is good enough. And I definitely don't think Hillman's good enough. I don't know what's gone so wrong with Kilman, but I just feel like the moment we bring him on, unfortunately, we're such a worse side. And what's frustrating me most is I think that centre-back, it really plays a massive part in the whole team, because if they're organised and they're talking to each other, balls into the box are not a problem, corners are not a problem. None of these things are such an issue. But at the moment, it just feels like everyone's panicking, running around like headless chickens, not talking to each other, losing players, getting dragged in, but not even checking over their shoulders to make sure if there's someone else marking up the player they were on. So simple things like that are really costing us. So yeah, basically, I would say number 1, Kilman, and number 2, Mavropanos. But mainly Kilman is the one that I would like he has to be switched out. And that's just from our starting 11. When you look at our squad depth, we don't have enough squad depth to be able to mix things up mid-game. If we get like a like Fernandez, if he gets injured, we're in huge amounts of trouble. But I think we're in a position right now where we're going to have to just suck that up and hope for the best. Angel Gomez went to Wolves. We were chasing him for ages. This is the thing, like, it is possible to get players over the line, especially like Wolves are in a far more dire situation than we are. But did we want Angel Gomez? I guess that's the other question. Did 𝙍𝙍𝘼𝙉𝙍𝙍 sign? Deal sheet is in. So let me know if anyone hears differently. But currently, I'm not hearing that it's actually over the line. I'm just going to double check one more time. Alan means Nuno, not Nina. Nina needs to stick with 4-4-2 as he's worked against Spurs and Sunderland. Burnley is a must win. 100%. Burnley is one of the teams that we're going to be competing with so closely. So that's one that we're going to really have to make it work. Do you think the protests are actually working, or do we need another visceral protest like the Burnley protest a few years ago? I think the problem is owners are very hardened to protests and almost separate themselves from the whole frustration that fan bases have. I think they're used to being the enemy at this point, and that there isn't much, to be honest, that would really force them to sell. As much as that absolutely kills me to say, I don't know if it impacts them in the way that if you or I were protested against, we'd go, this is terrible, like I've got to do something about this. I'm just not sure that they care in that way. They've got their money tied up in the club and are probably looking at it more from a money perspective. And it hurts because I think as a West Ham fan, like, this is our joy, our love. We put our money into our season tickets and it means so much to us, right? We're here on a Monday night at 7:45 after a really disappointing transfer window chatting about the club because we love it and we care. So I think a lot of owners don't necessarily see it the same way, and it's more of a business to them where they're a little bit more hardened to it. And if I'm completely honest, I don't know what kind of protest would make a difference. They've had protests, they've had all the negative media that comes our way, and nothing seems to make a humongous difference. I think if they sell up, it's going to be because they want to sell up, unfortunately, rather than it being because we've managed to sort of protest in a way that hits them hard. So that's my opinion, but I don't know. And I don't know what it would take for them to sell up either, because if we go down, like I said, I can't see them selling up either because they'd lose a lot of money. Peter wasn't impressed with Kilman when he was at Wolves. Peter, where were you? Where were you when they were deciding when he did send you in? I didn't see too much of him, but I knew that he'd been there consistently. Watched some highlights. He's never been the fastest, has he? But he looked like he could have done a job for us. But as we found out, he can't. So as it stands, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to head off in a minute. It's 7:46 p.m. on deadline day. The deadline was 46 minutes ago. We've not signed 𝙍𝙍𝘼𝙉𝙍. There has been a total of 0 Premier League signings on deadline day, which is quite a shock. And as it stands, we've not brought in the centre-back that we needed. Pierre-Emerick was going to Watford. Just seen that. Do we miss Diop? I'd bring Diop in a heartbeat right now, to be completely honest. What's everyone else saying? Isn't it funny? All the players, like, honestly, what I would give for Craig Dawson to come back. What I'd give for Zouma. Like, there's so many centre-backs right now that I would bring in, just saying, oh, do you think Burnley can catch us? Don't worry. I am reading. Do I think Burnley can catch us if they win? I do, to be honest. I think it's going to rely on us picking up points and us getting lucky that the teams like Burnley aren't picking up points. I think anyone can catch us, unfortunately. But we need to take it into our own hands now. And if this is the lineup that we've got, this is the starting 11 we've got, this is the squad that we've got, right now those players need to take it upon themselves to go and make something special happen, because it's not changing. Looks like we've got our starting 11. Maybe 𝙍𝙍𝘼𝙉𝙍 will come in with that deal sheet being in but not being announced. Maybe it won't. But regardless, it's all on those players now to not make mistakes. As much as we're all frustrated at Nuno for a lot of the substitutions and going defensive, which clearly doesn't work, these are Premier League players that should be doing a lot better than letting people get free headers in the box and things like that. So we need players to make a difference, because I think realistically everything hangs in the balance. We've got enough games to save ourselves, but we've got to find that fight and determination and just stay switched on for the full 90. So I do read your comments. I'm sorry if I missed them earlier. Always smiling. Peter, we have got to smile. You've got to smile about something, haven't you, in life? And do do you know what? It brings me joy chatting to all of you lot. I feel like it's a free therapy session. We're feeling sad. Thank you so much. It's been a lovely show. I've really, really enjoyed chatting with all of you. I think Burnley will beat us. It really wouldn't surprise me, Peter. I think Burnley it's going to be who's more up for the fight, realistically. Hermanson turned his phone off today. If I was him, if I'm Mads, my phone is off as well. I just hiding from everything, turning off the news. But before I head off, if you haven't already, please give this video a little thumbs up. We're going to be making so much more content. So head down to the comment section, chat away with each other, reply to each other, give a thumbs up to those that you're agreeing in the comments, because we want to make this at West Ham Network such an interactive little community. And we've done such a fun job of this, being able to get everyone chatting. And I love that we can all have such different opinions. And instead of us fighting each other, we can just have a little healthy debate about it. And I feel like that is a good way to approach football, because we're never going to all agree on everything. And I know that half of you probably think, why on earth are you so positive half the time? But I love it. Like, I literally love chatting with all of you. So I just wanted to say thank you to all of you, because we appreciate you so much. So on YouTube, we've got the long form content and we go live regularly. We've got so many amazing different shows as well. We've got people from all over the world talking about their experiences of West Ham. We've got interviews, special guests, all sorts going on. Then we've got shorter form content. We've got Facebook, where we're doing shorts now. We're doing reels over there. There's a lot more posts as well with pictures, where we get your thoughts in the comments section. And that is absolutely flying at the moment. So make sure you get involved over there. We have got TikTok. We've got X. So follow us on all of these channels, because it's so much fun. And we're creating different content for all the platforms. So it's good fun. Find out what you enjoy. But like I said, we're always posting this long-term content. As it stands, West Ham have not made a deadline day signing, unfortunately. We're waiting to hear whether 𝙍𝙍𝘼𝙉𝙍 has got over the line. We have got a deal sheet in. We have been, unfortunately, bent over a barrel and have zero room for negotiation, because we're in a terrible position here at West Ham. But we've got the starting 11. We've got the squad that we've got now, and we're going to have to make something special happen. So here's hoping the Hammers can turn something around. Thank you so much for all of your lovely comments. Last questions. Go on then, get them all in. I'll be 1 more minute and then I'm going to head off. I'm very well, thank you. Big Low says I'm disabled and they could assign me this window. Honestly, I've barely exercised since having my daughter, and I feel like I could have probably done a decent job at centre-back. Get those last questions in now if you have a second, and then I'm going to head off for the evening. And hopefully we can all just switch off from West Ham, knowing that all business is completed, and see what we can do with the rest of the season. It's going to be an interesting one. And like Victor here has said, we have until 9 o'clock with the deal sheet. So there is 1 hour and 9 minutes until we will or will not find out that we've got 𝙍𝙍𝘼𝙉𝙍. Do I think you could do a good job at this club, given what you've seen in the past 3 or 4 years? I think the problem is, so much of what people can do at a club depends on luck, resources, and a strategy where everything is aligned. And that comes from the top, with a person knowing what they want and what they need in terms of players. So that'd be the head coach, the recruitment team that go out and source those people, and then the board that fund and finance those decisions. And I think if you can nail that, you can actually make it work. I think if you don't nail that, it goes wrong, and you have the approach that we have at West Ham right now, which is a headless chicken. So I don't know is my answer. The amount of times that I've thought over the last few years, what would it take for me to actually be able to give it a go as head coach at West Ham? Because I'd love it. But at the same time, I would be heartbroken if I basically, if I wasn't actually able to do a good job, I'd be heartbroken, because I would have played a part in West Ham being terrible. So to answer your question, Damien, I don't know if you would do a good job at this club. I don't know if any of us would do a good job at this club, because I feel like it's a bit of a poison chalice, in that there's challenges from the second you start, and there's so much that needs fixing that's built up over the years. So those are my thoughts. But like Victor said, we have got until 9 o'clock with the deal sheet, and that's 1 hour and 8 minutes until the 𝙍𝙍𝘼𝙉𝙍 deal will either be announced or not announced. Will I be happy if we get 𝙍𝙍𝘼𝙉𝙍 in? Yes, I'm hoping we do, because for me, I just needed someone to come in at centre-back. Am I disappointed that it's come down to the very end and we're hoping that we make a 𝙍𝙍 signing? Yeah, it is disappointing because this was our biggest problem. So hopefully we have a more positive second half of the season. Anything can happen in football. So while I know that we're all looking relegation in the face right now, I'm very disappointed. I'm here to keep our hopes up for the rest of the season. I'll be here regularly to do all your heads in with my positivity. But for now, if this is the squad that we've got, then those players need to make something magical happen. So here's hoping we can make that happen. Thank you so much to everyone who's watched this live stream. It's been an absolute pleasure. We're going to be doing loads more content as well, where we're going to be talking through all sorts, taking your questions live. And yeah, for now, thank you so much. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do. If you're watching over on Facebook or X, make sure you follow us and let us know what kinds of content you'd like to see us post as well. Give a little thumbs up to the video. Make sure you support. And thank you so much for all of your time this evening. It's been a pleasure running you through absolutely zero signings. But it's always fun, isn't it? That's the one thing I can say. So have a great Monday. Have a great start to the week. Here's to the signing of 𝙍𝙍. We've got 1 hour and 6 minutes, and let's see what happens. Over and out. Come on, you Irons. Massive second half of the season. Very concerned after this transfer window, but hopeful as always. Come on, you Irons. Irons.